Welcome to the wrestler review, John.
Dylan, may I have a question for you before we start?
No.
Okay.
Alpha, what's up?
Whose yard is this?
Oh, I think it's my yard,
Oh,
buddy. Oh, hey, you
really?
know what? Never mind. Actually, I'll find context for it and bring it up later. John, we are here for a man who everyone liked, and then he retired, and then he was like, "There's only two people that should have rights: the cops and me."
Yeah,
And
no,
now that's who he is.
it's an interesting situation, the Undertaker starting talking, because it was like, man, we really want to hear the insights of this legendary pro of wrestling. And then he was like, here's the first thing I got to say. Buck Sumoff was right. He's my favorite wrestler. And everyone was like, well, we made a mistake. I like that wrestling fans are like,
Yeah.
I guarantee who I know is my best friend. It's the guy who dresses up like he's a zombie that owns a motorcycle for um almost 40 years. Understand, I now have a ruptured disc in my spine just from existing. That's how long the Undertaker was. The Undertaker was long enough for a man to have a pretty severe back injury
Yeah.
because he existed.
That's the crazy thing. Yeah. You went when the Undertaker debuted, you were a child, and now you're being broken by time.
Yeah, no, now literally my enemy is gravity.
This is the fucking crazy thing about the Undertaker that I really love is that everything he believes is right and everything you believe is wrong, John. No, I think that he
Yeah,
came
that's right.
out and he was like, I can't wait to do all these shoot interviews because he saw them in 2000 when it was like, oh my God, friggin' George Animal Steele's just straight shooting on who had the best hot dogs in Minneapolis, and anything from behind the scenes was fun in the year 2000. And in the same way that I believe that the year 2000 was 6 days ago, even though it was 22 years ago, the Undertaker was like, I can't wait to fucking do all these shoot interviews. And everyone was like, oh no, these are like super boring, and you're just upsetting me because do you own any shirts that are just yeah, they came out of a beer case?
Yeah, no,
They're like, you had
Undertaker.
to actively get these, like you hit the $600 a month Patreon subscription for Hitler von Adolf. Here you go, here's a Blue Lives Matter shirt.
Here's what I also think that's so fascinating about the Undertaker and sort of the post-retirement years is that, like, we thought he was cool, and it turns out he's a 50-year-old with a ponytail. That Hall of Fame speech was the lamest thing I've, because again, he
Yeah.
acts like he's Muhammad Ali of wrestling, and he's the guy who wore a duster. Like, what's interesting about wrestling is so many wrestlers do not understand their own fans. Like, they just think of them as like, they'll like what I like. I like sardines and fucking my wife and not talking to her. And everyone's like, sardines, though. He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, think about this guy's career, though, is essentially he was the greatest territorial mainstay that wrestling has ever seen. No one has guarded or protected a territory more than me and Mom.
He's the best booked wrestler ever.
I disagree entirely.
That's what he
I
is.
think Ric Flair is the best book wrestler of all time,
Why?
minus the WC, because Ric Flair has been able to.
You just had to say minus though. That's what I'm saying. Front to
Yeah,
back, this guy's fucking here for 30 years and he's so well protected. He's like, it's literally, and Vince McMahon said this as bullshit, but he is completely correct. Where if CM Punk was like, I want to main event WrestleMania, and Vince McMahon said, you did, you faced the Undertaker, and it's like, I do believe Vince McMahon has a point because that isn't, if you beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania, obviously it's the main event, but like
I
not.
disagree. I'm actually with CM. I am with
I
Child
get what he's saying.
Monster
I
Punk.
get, yeah, I get Come Machine Punk. I get what he's saying because I do agree with him, but Vince does have a point where it's like there's literally winning the world title, and like if you beat the Undertaker, that is more rare and makes you a stronger character than winning the world title because
Sure,
there's so many world
CM
champions
Punk was
who
never
ran
beating
up
the
against that.
Undertaker. Wait,
Never. He was never going to.
big boy, never gonna
Batista
beat him.
didn't beat the Undertaker.
No, Batista was never gonna beat the Undertaker.
That's
The
what I'm saying. Like
Undertaker,
Brock, even when he was the American Badass, no one really liked him
when he
towards
was
the
the
end of it. When he was
American
Big Evil, Big
Badass.
Evil was the fucking, that
Oh,
was,
Big
Big Evil
Evil.
was like
Big
just
Evil was
fucking,
Limp Bizkit minus West Borland, where we were like, before this was fun. This is now just
oh yeah.
this is just embarrassing. all of
Yeah,
your
Big
songs are
Evil was
very
staying at the party
emotional.
too long.
Yeah, Big Evil.
Big Evil was when you get a bag of Coke at 5 a.m. It's like the party's done. You can come in at 5 a.m. If you're still re-upping at
Oh my
5
God, that's
a.m., you're
exactly.
gonna
I gotta
die.
tell you, that's sort of what's amazing about the Undertaker is for someone who had such a long career, he varied up his sort of his identity just enough that it never seemed stale, but it never seemed original. Like it always seemed like he was copying himself. Like even with Big Evil seemed like a weird copy of the American Badass, which was also him. In the same way that like the purple gloves Undertaker seemed like a weird copy of the gray gloves Undertaker, but that's also him. It's so because here's the thing that I find fascinating about the Undertaker is he seems like such a unique wrestler until you listen to um Bruce Pritchard's Something to Wrestle With, where he talks about how The Undertaker was just a giant fan of Don Jardine. And Dylan, I hope you're sitting down. I actually did some research for this episode and I
Oh
watched
no.
a Don, I know, I watched half a Don Jardine episode, but I was on a lot of steroids because of my herniated disc. So all I remember is masturbating furiously. I mean,
Oh, get it out, keep it in.
I gotta get the fluid out. Gotta get the
You
fluid
know,
out.
actually, the funny thing is, if you had have actually followed through and never nut in November, you wouldn't have this injury because you'd have enough semen in your body to replace the fluids.
Yeah, as opposed to I did every nut December, where if someone just mentions nuts, I nut. You want some peanut butter? Why did you do this to me?
I will say this. Here's something that I can't ever.
But hang on,
I
let me
could.
just
They
finish
would
my point
never
about
come up
Don Jardine.
naturally otherwise.
Let me
Okay,
just,
John
which is
Jardine, go for it.
basically all the Undertaker is just saw the scariest, toughest man in Texas wrestling and was probably like a little tall, lanky basketball player. Was like, I'm gonna be that guy. And then, like all wrestlers, just pretended enough that he became that guy.
That is what. That is what a lot of wrestling is, where someone's trying to just be something else, and then someone like Mark Calloway's trying to be Don Jardine, and Vince McMahon comes and sees a completely different thing, and it just works because you get two visions
Such a
coming
great point.
together. And
Yeah.
also, what I want to say about Mean Mark Calloway is that he has four older brothers, which is so funny to think.
Whoa.
Who could end the other fucking?
So there's
It's so funny to think
Kane,
of the Undertaker getting beaten up by four
maskless
dudes.
Kane, that other Kane that was portrayed by Drew
Check
Galloway.
out how fucking. Of course, this guy's a conservative. His dad's name is Frank,
Yeah,
and
done.
here are his brothers' names: David, Michael, Paul, and Timothy. And his
Let me
name is
tell you.
Mark.
Let me tell you that
You
those
have five
kids,
kids.
those kids
Try
had
not
to
to make any
watch
of them
their
fun.
dad shit.
Yeah.
They every morning they were gathered in the
This
bathroom. No
is what a
talking.
man does.
You got to listen to the plops. 3, or your day is gonna be bad.
If you
That was
smoke
only
enough, you'll shit one out.
yeah.
And I'm
Hey,
waiting.
you know what lunch is for? That's for smoking. No
Mm.
food. Yeah,
Oh,
people who
I've
eat
done that
food
before.
at
Oh
lunch.
God.
You know what they are? Fucking Muslims. You're not gonna
How
be
many
fucking.
cigarette lunches have you had in your
Oh,
life, John?
so many.
Good
I've
Lord.
chosen cigarettes
Look at
over
that.
food, sir.
Oh, me too. And you know what the crazy thing is? It's can you imagine someone being like, I vaped instead of having lunch? You'd be like, what the fuck? But
Yeah,
cigarette instead of lunch, you're like, yeah,
yeah, I get it. Yeah, because that's
yeah,
cool. Yeah,
yeah. You're see the thing is, the less food you have and the more cigarettes you have, the more like you are to start growing a jacket. And
yeah,
whatever
exactly.
jacket you like is what you grow.
Exactly. I assumed you wanted to be a guy who looks like he's with the band, but he doesn't play any instruments. If that's true,
Yeah.
skip that sandwich. Have yourself another. It is crazy to me that this show is ending, and this show really tracks the arc of our cigarette love, in that you caught us deep in England, just truly neither one of us really enjoying where we live.
Literally smoking out.
Smoking.
No, there was because we would take enough time off that
Oh
we
my.
did enjoy it. There were episodes where it was like we
No,
had
no, we
both
always enjoyed doing the show. I'm
stops.
talking about living, enjoying about.
No, I meant cigarettes. I meant like
Oh,
there's literally I was talking about cigarettes, like stopping smoking cigarettes and then starting to enjoy it again, and you can hear it on the radio where it's like both of us are smoking inside.
oh yeah. Can you
There's yeah,
imagine
you can
that?
totally track the health problems that John and I are having. And then like the start of this episode at
I'm
the
gonna say
start of
this
this
right
show,
now.
we're like, whoa, I'm still up on blow. I better smoke it off.
I disagree. Oh, the Donald Trump episode is just two different types of hungover people being like,
Oh
"Why did
God.
we agree to this?"
I just won money though. That was sick.
Oh my god! I got into a screaming argument with a British woman. It's your fault. It's your fault. And then I started. I'm Canadian. Doesn't matter. And I'm like, And it's the last time I've said the R word in public.
Where you're like, it's not my fault. And then you've crashed and died. Anyway.
No, I just said the Planet Hollywood tape is my manifesto, and then I burned that hipster venue.
The R word. Yeah, John keeps saying the N word. Yeah, which, by the way, he's an improv. The N word is no.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, we were confused. That N word is actually not as bad as the other one. No.
Improv was a thing that was very popular in 2009, and then by 2017 everyone was like, this is Harvey Weinstein but with no help to show business, and then everyone was like, good point, shut down the improv schools.
Yeah, and to the point where it's like, I think Mike Birbiglia was in one, and there's a couple other that are just straight up the like multiple indie movies made where it's like, this guy has roommates, he's 40 and he fucks 20-year-olds. Like, that was and that's weird.
I just remember, I know someone who got fired from an improv school, and this is a rumor and conjecture, and I have no evidence, but apparently they sat down and they were like, you're really not supposed to try and have orgies with your students. Was apparently how the conversation started. And I got to tell you, that's not a good way to start a conversation. That's a disciplinary hearing. If it's an orgy, then you're like, this is how you started. I hear you've had other orgies. If it's a disciplinary hearing, you never want to hear the word orgy. Do you think that Mark Calloway has ever had any orgies? I also, by the way, I use his original name.
No, because he thinks that's for hippies.
That's correct. He's like, you have sex with one woman one time, or as many times to make babies.
Although, no, I mean, anyway.
The Undertaker is such a
the mean Mark Calloway. No, we got to talk about his fucking. Here's his early. He was Texas Red, which I think is a better name than the next one, the Master of Pain.
I disagree entirely. I've nicknamed my butt Master of Pain.
He was apparently, his storyline was he was serving 5 years in solitary confinement for killing people in a fight. That's apparently what you get.
That's fucking
for
cool.
Killing 2 people in a fight is 5 years.
Yeah, you get 5 years. What did you do?
I like that because it's a heel. Like, ooh, not only is he fucking dangerous in the ring, but I'm sure he was doing this character in Tennessee, so I'm sure that people were mad about how light a prison sentence he got as well.
I think you're correct. I have to say this is the fascinating thing, is that wrestling has really changed.
And his hair is too red. I will say this. He literally he is too big and too ginger to pull off any character that's not The Undertaker.
It's the weirdest thing. It's also weird that he debuted with red hair as The Undertaker, and he just looks so different.
But it's like, that is he fucking did such an amazing job of being The Undertaker. Like,
oh, well, no. There are moments he did amazing jobs. Cumulatively, phenomenal. But there are some moments, go fuck yourself. The Ministry of Darkness, my friend.
That's what I'm saying, debut.
Oh, debut. This guy knows how to fucking show.
Literally the strongest character ever in the history of wrestling is The Undertaker. This is the other thing. The other subtle thing about, go for it.
It's Hulk Hogan, then The Undertaker. Hulk Hogan shows up and wins the belt in like 2 minutes, and then just fucking gets covered in champagne and has a weird moment with Andre the Giant. Next one is Kane the Undertaker shows up, managed by Brother Love, fucking runs the board on the Survivor Series, and is the world's champion in like a year. It's so crazy. And also that incident provided the greatest Hulk Hogan lie ever. Injured my neck because of a tombstone pile driver that the Undertaker gave me. Undertaker apparently felt guilty about it and like changed how he did the tombstone forever as a result. And then looked at the tape like 12 years later and was like, his fucking head doesn't even fucking touch the chair, this piece of shit.
Well, Hogan and the Undertaker definitely have some weird issues, because remember, Hogan, like, one of the most legendary sandbags of all time is Hogan just not jumping at all for a chokeslam.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's so embarrassing.
And it's like the Undertaker's like, although this is my yard, I am not strong. So you have to fucking jump.
I guess this fucking guy's like my fucking dad who doesn't fucking cooperate.
Oh God, now my older brothers are gonna bully me.
Oh God. I for some reason
and that proves actually that I am stronger than you, Dave Calloway. Dave, stop breaking character when you do this. No, I can't.
Which one of these is a camera? This is a house show, Mark. There are no cameras. Okay, I'm just going to tell a guy who looks like he lives in Texas. You tell fucking Dave Calloway to stop fucking asking me for money.
Hey, and you will rest in peace, and that makes me not gay, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm actually not. And
Yeah.
I'm the Undertaker now, and people think I'm really strong and I have an urn. And look at this small fat guy. That I'm him. He's mine too. So rest in peace. I'm not gay. That was a lot of the early
Let me ask you
promos.
something, fucking Dave. Would a
Yeah.
Peter Pumper have a short, fat friend? Would they?
Yeah.
I'm the fucking Undertaker, man.
Oh yeah. What are you doing, Mike? You got a wife and kids? I know a lot of Samoan guys now.
Yeah.
How does that sound?
I'm in a fucking gang called the Bone Skulls
Yeah.
Crew that's
Both.
based off
We
of
have a
Dice.
cool name and we have a fort.
Yeah, we have a little
He is
fort
such
in
an
the
older. He's such a younger brother. We have a. I made up a gang, Michael. I can beat you up.
Yeah, and one of them's really fat. He'll fucking beat you up and
He'll
sit on you.
fucking sit on
He's gonna
you.
break your retainer, Mike.
Oh,
Your
buddy.
retainer's gonna be broken again, and Dad's
How
gonna
much you want
fucking
to bet?
know. Oh,
How much you want to bet that Yokozuna met one of his older brothers and was like, that guy was actually pretty cool. He's like, well, you don't like him better than me, do you? And he's like,
I
"Well,
guarantee that's.
back off, man.
I guarantee that's what.
You don't like
happened.
him better than me. I'm still your best friend.
Yeah, you can like him, but you can't love him like you love me, though.
We love each other, right? I have all these tattoos that say I love you.
All these tattoos mean that I'm lonely. Where's
So
my
Mean Mark
money?
Calloway, do you know what Mean Mark was? He was the original body shamer. He would go, tabbies, yum, yum, yum.
He had Barry Darso's gimmick?
Yeah, and then Darso stole it.
I mean, wouldn't you? It's the best gimmick in wrestling. They literally, you want to get heat in Southern wrestling? Just walk to the ring telling people they're fat. That's up there with.
Suggest a diet anywhere, anyway. Just like earnestly suggest someone go on a diet, and you're a good heel.
God, that's such a funny.
If there was a way to not pro wrestling it or
you.
correct someone just when they see someone eating, like, do you need all that bread?
Yeah, I just want to say, I think keto is an option for you, actually.
Inflation's kind of crazy right now, but that doesn't mean you have to just give up like you clearly are.
Yeah, inflation is an economic thing, not a waistline thing.
Mm-hmm. He was Mean Mark Calloway. That was devised for him by Terry Funk, who I assume got out of his sleep and then went back to sleep immediately.
I don't think that he woke up. I think they were like, what's this wrestler called? And he's like, hey, he's mean.
His name is Mark. He's mean. Night, night.
Here's the weirdest thing about wrestling is Terry
Callous.
Funk.
Sorry, it's Callous.
Oh, pardon me. That's right.
Callous.
Like
that's one thing. Everyone says
you
that
get on
name
your
is dumb.
finger when you play too much guitar.
That's one of the best things about anything. That's a weird sentence, but that's one of the best things is, oh, fuck, WCW is so fucking stupid. Do you can't believe that they named the Undertaker Mean Mark Callous? Terry Funk named it. Well, that's fine then. You know what I mean?
Where yeah, wrestling
like,
fans, much like comedians, is they
Anything,
only care when but specifically wrestling and comedy is the two dens of like, this guy's a real monster and he's unpopular, so we have to take him down immediately. Yeah.
Like he was in the Skyscrapers to replace Sid Vicious for a hot minute. And oh yeah, this was his,
by the way, is a tag team that basically made no impact, but were so bad Jim Cornette will rant about them at any opportunity with a venom he usually reserves for Vince Russo. It's pretty spectacular.
I think I would like to nominate the Heart Punch as the worst finishing move that's been widely used ever.
I see the Heart Punch. I'm gonna raise you the Iron Claw, but let's get to the bottom.
Here's why I think that the Iron Claw is better.
Go ahead.
The Iron Claw can come from anywhere. You can you can just fucking slap it on. It doesn't look dumb, yes, but in the cartoon world that is pro wrestling, he's fucking got strong hands, so you can crush your goddamn head. The Heart Punch, you literally have to like position it, measure it, and then punch him in the chest. And the thing is, they never even punched them in the chest. They just pulled the punch at the last second. It's not like it was like the Necro Butcher doing the Heart Punch, where it was like, I'm just gonna fucking haul off and blast this dude in the chest.
I gotta tell you, the Necro Butcher does not give the credit he deserves for how much he brought.
3 inches taller, he would have been like the greatest wrestler of all time.
I gotta tell you,
took a fucking exploder onto concrete and his head exploded, and then there was 20 more minutes in the match.
I'm gonna say this right now: the Necro Butcher is the 21st century Ric Flair. That man is the marathon man.
Dude, he has a tattoo of Yoda smoking weed on his arm. He's made no mistakes in his life.
Wait a minute. He got man, that guy, that's better than my tattoo of Yoda sucking his own dick.
No, that's not. Yoda sucking his own dick on your back, which is why you're having the hip issues. because you're trying
I'm
to suck your own dick at the same time. You're going, hey, check it
Of
out.
course, yeah. You have to if you're getting a tattoo of Yoda sucking his own dick, you have to suck your own dick while you're getting that tattoo.
I think that
By the
wrestling
way,
has
Dylan
missed.
is drinking out
Yep.
of a fleshlight. If those of you,
Oh, that looks like it looks. I'd like to thank the Thermos Corporation for finally answering my emails.
yeah.
You can nut in it and then you can drink out of it.
I also got a Bucky's mug for Christmas. For those of you who don't know Bucky's, Dylan, you're a scumbag like me. It's the biggest gas station in Texas.
Oh, that's
It,
sick.
it's got a jerky bar. What kind of jerky do you want? Bear in mind, Dylan, gas station. It's main, but still got a jerky bar. It's got a towel section. It's the best.
I like
Advertising.
that. You can fucking eat some jerky after you just shot.
Yeah, you
You
can
shot a fucking load
yeah,
and then you fucking.
fill my fucking tank. Give me a fucking towel to cover to clean up the load I left on the fucking passenger seat. Yeah, I have some fucking jerky. I'm hungry.
I dropped the juicer. Now I'm gonna fucking have some jerky. Let's go.
Here's the thing with the Undertaker is he was managed by
Okay,
Teddy
sure.
Long, and Teddy Long clearly doesn't like him. And I don't think that Mean Mark Callis is racist. I just think he's an asshole. Like I guarantee he's like, oh, let's stop for lunch, and he's like, I'll get gas, and then Mark just gets the sandwich, eats it, and gets back in the car, and Teddy's like, what the fuck? Like this is something I guarantee Mark Calloway has done. This was mentioned something that a comedian did, which was two comedians were on a flight. One of them was in the middle seat, one of them in the aisle. The meal came. The comedian on the aisle finished his food first, just put his tray on the other comedian's tray, put his tray up, and went to
Jesus
sleep.
Christ. Who
That's
was
what
that?
it was.
You?
It was not me. I'm not going to say who it is because it's the
It
kind
was
of
you.
asshole that would find out and then message us, and I don't want to talk to this
Well,
person.
he knows because he's fucking probably listening because this is a huge. This ending is bigger than Mash.
Oh, of course, and we'll be singing the song.
Thank you for being in Mash.
If I
Thank you
were
for
to
being.
give a war and
Yeah.
invited all the Koreans I knew,
Ooh, this
you
war
would
didn't
see
happen.
the
It's a
biggest
pure thing
landmine
of
was
fiction.
me. And
Yep. Yep.
and the card would read, we don't like the
Yeah. The
communists.
woke mob is trying to cancel Mash.
Yeah.
This is the Mean Mark Callis is in the title, not the upper. He's in the upper mid card picture because he's wrestling like Lex Luger, and this is something I've said it before. I'll say it again. This is something that they do not do enough in professional wrestling, which is now, sorry, is that like you took Rusev and you made him Miro, and Miro is a different character than Rusev, but it's so subtle. They didn't just like completely change everything about Rusev's look and be like, this is a new fucking guy now, shut the fuck up. And I think that wrestling fans are old enough now that they won't be like we were like 10 years ago. Like literally the median age for a wrestling fan is me and John now. Like it's a middle-aged man. So it's
Yeah.
like we're not going to be like, yeah, okay, Miro wears all white now and he fucks a donkey. Sure, let's try it. You know what I mean? Instead of like what we were, which was hey, I actually know that's Miro.
Yeah. I just want to let you know, I can see through the fact that that guy has changed the color of his trunks.
That's not him. You're not tricking me.
Yeah. I've watched enough ECW on sci-fi to know that Mordecai is Kevin Thorne. Try and fuck me again, and you will face my wrath.
Yeah.
Also, The
So
Undertaker, never seen a guy have more, what were they thinking in terms of opponents than this man, where they were like, I'll tell you who's going to be a real threat to this 6'9" guy, the 6'1" guy.
well, this is the thing, that is very important, and one of the very important things about the Undertaker is that the WWF puts pants on him because he has itty bitty legs.
You are very good at detecting the flaws in men's physiques, and the Undertaker's he is a man who really benefits from having the best gimmick ever. What's your gimmick? You can't be hurt because you might be dead. I don't fucking know. Like that's basically
Here's my gimmick. I wear big, wide boots.
Yeah.
Because my legs are Gwyneth Paltrow's legs.
I have britches, and I'm gonna do a lot of weirdly aerial moves because I'm a ghost.
But the Undertaker, big body and fucking itty bitty, like, and I'm talking about like Rick Rude level, and WWF was big for that.
Disagree. Do not
Rick Rude
besmirch the pins of Mr. Rude. You're being
You ever
rude
look
to
at Rick
Mr.
Rude's
Rude.
leg?
Name a time when I'm not kind of looking at Rick Rude's legs.
I'm
All
just
the audio
saying.
issues before the show were merely distractions, so I could fully
Were
see.
you licking Rick Rude's
I
legs?
was admiring a photo. I wouldn't say I was. I was licking my lips, of course, but that's because I'm a man with a soul.
So the Undertaker gets signed. Hogan claims he did it.
I'm sure he did.
Hogan claims, yeah. Anyway, either way, I'm
I
sure there's
recently
6,000 stories from these fucking carnies about how the Undertaker came to WWF. But
the Hulk Hogan lies list, which I woke up to with my herniated disc in my back, and I just lay in bed for 2 days, feeling more pain than I thought was fathomable.
mhm.
And so I had YouTube on just in the background for some talking, and I awoke to Jim Cornette discussing the Hulk Hogan's lies list. And right when he gets to
That's really funny.
the Undertaker, the amount of different wrestlers this guy claims that he like found, like I gotta tell you, Hulk Hogan should just be honest of like, yeah, I'm a scumbag. I'm a man from Florida. I lie. I'll fuck your wife, and I don't like those people. And I guarantee he could be president. Hulk Hogan, if Hulk Hogan literally was like,
I
you know,
think he
the
did pretty
Undertaker,
good
I
for
did that.
himself.
He could be the new Trump. It could be Biden Bolea 2024. And I got to tell
You
you,
think he's a
cool.
Democrat?
No, I think it's Bolea
Oh,
v
by
Biden.
okay. I thought it was like kick Kamala Harris off that fucking
Oh my
ticket.
god, that's an unbeatable ticket. Who's your
We need
VP?
someone older, dude.
Yeah, who's your VP? Terry Hulk Hogan. How did Joe Biden win a second term? Well, first of all, he won it all 50 states, all electoral votes. His VP is Hulk Hogan. And his celebration was he just dropped the big boot. He gave a big boot to an effigy of Ron DeSantis, and people positively burned down Chicago. I've never seen anything like it.
I
Everyone was
think
like,
that
we can only celebrate this one way. Take the city.
what we should do is fake that we're doing a podcast, like a Conrad Thompson style podcast with someone, but then actually the podcast is just us asking Hulk Hogan or Brutus Beefcake genuinely what they think happened in the Gulf War, and then doing it like the show Blowback, like that kind of gravitas
Yeah, yeah,
applied
yeah.
to the Gulf War, but Hulk Hogan going like, "Oh, I came in there, dude. Ayatollah Khomeini couldn't handle the Hulkster. Neither could Saddam Hussein. They died in 1990, and those were just clones I created, brother. Those were just Sean Devari, dude, and of course Muhammad Hassan, brother. Those were the people that acted like they were Osama bin whatever."
I guarantee that Brutus the Barber Beefcake will not know where
Why did 9/11 happen, dude? Well, the Stone Cold one job to the Hulkster, brother, and
yeah,
that's what
bro.
happens when the world is upset.
I'm not going to say that it was connected to the fact that they put the title on Booker T, but I am also saying that that's what caused it, dude.
That's another new blood angle I didn't appreciate, brother.
Yeah.
They were trying to get heat.
Yeah. You know what, dude? It's been secret for long enough. I came up with the New Blood versus the Millionaires Club, but I had a different way. They had slightly different names. It was
Al
me.
Qaeda and the Taliban, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway,
dude.
anyway, the Undertaker debuts as Kane the Undertaker. This is so I
This is
think it's
also
one of the
wild.
best and worst things ever because it's
Oh.
truly a great and like this character has lasted for 30 years, we can call it now. And but it also buoyed Vince McMahon thinking he was a creative genius because this is when he comes up with like he has wardrobe department, everything we now know. You can read up all about it in Mick Foley's first book about how they came up with the Mankind character, and he comes up with like all these sketches, everything's perfectly laid out. The Undertaker just has to show up and basically act the character, and he does it very well. And the success of this leads to 1995 being terrible. Does that make
Yeah,
sense? Where it's like
it
he thinks
absolutely
that
does, and I'm glad
everything
we're
he
making this
fucking
point.
does. Yeah, exactly.
Basically, Vince McMahon is one of those guys where he's like, if he can do one thing sort of right, he assumes he's the best at it. I own a baseball. I can hit a home run. It's sort of the metaphor I would draw towards it. And I think exactly right, which was he basically found, as much as Mark Calloway is a disgusting pig boy who probably does open door shits, and is probably the world's worst stepdad, he is an exceptional professional wrestler. And one thing may have a lot to do with the other. That said, um,
That's a very
he
smart
was
point.
he
One
was
thing
going
actually might have a lot to do with the other.
one
Continue.
thing might have a lot to do with the other. He's going to take whatever you give him and run to the fucking horizon with it. So he was given this gimmick, and his look, how he presented it. Also, Paul Bearer is a huge factor in how good this character looks early on. because for
Mhm.
kids it was
Everything is amazing.
it was creepy as fuck, but it also emulated Saturday morning cartoons at that time. Of you have like the weird can't fight goon, and then the silent fucking monster. So it's this thing of like Hulk Hogan really came across like Superman because he's sort of facing an actual comic book supervillain.
It's like
Like that was
Krang in the Ninja Turtles, where it's
exactly
like,
what's it like is what it's
uh,
like.
we should walk through this to the body bag. We should walk through the fact
This
that
is so scary.
everything on this is what I was talking about. This is what I was starting to say earlier. Everything on WWF television was really light and bright. Even the bad guys
Yeah.
at this point, all of the bad
Because
guys
like
are
the bad
like,
guys are Ted DiBiase,
yeah.
Rick Rude,
Maybe
Flair at a
literally has a
certain
big
point.
dollar sign on it. Rick Rude is just covered in fluorescence and wants to fuck your mom. And then the Undertaker comes in. He's all in black and gray, and he does a pile driver where it looks like the guy is dead, and then he puts them in a body bag. And I remember thinking as a kid, okay, yeah, this is not real, but that guy I'm sure can't breathe,
Yeah.
which is
Oh,
fucking stupid. But like, he literally puts him in a fucking body bag.
there's no way that they weren't like, let's make sure there's some holes. Like I guarantee Vince McMahon was like,
Yeah.
morgue, go to the
Well,
morgue
so
and
like, yeah, Dusty
go to the
Rhodes
morgue,
did a
steal
little
some
move where
body
he
bags that
bumped
were
him with his
full.
belly. Now the Undertaker's suffocating a guy with a rag and shooting his parents. Like
Yeah.
just the tonal shift
Like bear in
and
mind,
killing them.
within 2 years of The Undertaker, he is a superhero that can withstand chloroform. It's crazy how much bad booking this character also survived. You have to understand, post Survivor Series, post the heel run when he gets the title with Hogan that leads to Ric Flair winning the title at the Royal Rumble, which this period of time is such a weird moment in booking because this is also when Jake the Snake Roberts like attacks Macho Man with an actual snake. Like it's this weird moment where they're like, are we going to do the Attitude Era now in the early 90s? And then it's like,
They
no.
certainly start doing like territorial stuff that's like more violent.
Yeah, because
It,
clearly
it, it does suggest a tonal shift. Yeah.
I think what it also is I think that it's we're getting towards the steroid era. I think that they're unsure who's going to actually take over. There's a bunch of sort of factors as to what led it to be this way, but either way,
Well, even
endlessly
the Ultimate
fascinating.
Warrior angle where with Papa Shango, like the Ultimate Warrior pukes, which is like, I mean, it's silly.
And also blood.
All the
Also,
adults who were watching it at that time are like, that was dumb. But like as a kid, you're like, he's fucking made a
I
puke with a.
remember watching one of the videos. You used to get these weird Coliseum home videos that were 1 hour to rent from Rogers Video, and one of them was just the Macho Man on his porch. I'm pretty sure, like it looked like he was just in a sunroom in his full wrestling gear. So it looked like they just went to his house and he was fully in his gear, and he just hosted different matches. And one of the things he hosted was the Papa Shango Ultimate Warrior blow off that was really bad, but it showed the ramp up. And like I remember as a kid being like, when was this? And like Ultimate Warrior is bleeding from the head, like black blood keeps coming out of his
Oh
hair. It's
yeah,
so
yeah, because of the
nuts.
spells.
That's right. He's got little spells.
And then he went full. That's when
Do you ever think when
Vince McMahon
Charles
went
Wright is
full
running his
fucking.
strip club, he's ever like, you want to see
Oh
meet the
yeah,
Godfather? Or you want to meet Papa Shango? How do you want to do
I'm
this?
for sure he casts a spell and just cum comes out of your dick, and that's like
Yo,
that's what this type pussy's
I
gonna
got that.
do to you, bro.
I got
That's
that
what
power with myself. You know what I
that's
mean? I call it the five knuckle shuffle spell.
That's actually sick. Is that if he combined them,
What
he
John
casts a
Cena's
spell, and then
jacked
you're
off?
having sex with a prostitute now, and you have to tell your wife, and then you get divorced. That's
Yeah.
one of that's one of the things is he has magical powers, and they ruin your life.
I just like that this guy, the
I
Charles
fucking wish I
Wright,
was dead, man.
they talk about
I
living the
can't see my
gimmick.
kids.
Nobody talks the fact that the Godfather retired from wrestling to go into sex work.
Not OnlyFans, buddy. Old school.
That's right,
That's
90s
sick.
style. Vegas strip club.
I'm sorry. I'm checking my mobile hotspot, making sure it's still good because
I
sometimes it
understand.
just dips. Uh, the Undertaker also would carry the jobbers to the back in the body bag, which I forgot, which is like
I
now
know.
it's like, oh my God, is he going to bury them alive? But then if I saw that now, I'd be like, he's going to fuck that body.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. He's eating that body. Paul Bear, he's getting protein from somewhere. They also would occasionally just bring stretchers to the ring and then forget them, which led to Sid Vicious using the stretcher on other opponents other
Yeah.
times. Um, they just did a lot of really interesting things. They slowly introduced the idea of the casket match. They change him so they just to quickly
That
they
is something that people don't, sorry to cut you off, but that is something that isn't talked about
Talk
enough
to me
is
about it, Dylan.
how you beat jobbers and like the jobber gimmick
Oh,
that you had, where it's
what
like
a point.
there's a really good, and I think it is wasted because it's on Lance Archer and AEW, but his jobber thing, and it's the first jobber gimmick thing that I'd seen in years. Because like most people's thing is now, oh, we just fight jobbers and that's our thing. But like literally on Dark, Lance Archer would come out and his song would play, and then a jobber runs out terrified because the whole idea is he started trying to fight this guy as soon as they got in the arena. And then the jobber runs in the ring, gets like one move on him, choke slam, done. And every match is literally 5 seconds because they ring the bell as the jobber punches him in the face, and then it's just fucking. And that's a really good one. And the stretcher for sure, Sid Vicious,
I'm
body
gonna
bag with the Undertaker is number one, but I can't think of anything else. Maybe the Austin thing where it's like, okay, I'm DQ'd. This isn't even a match now, but I can't think of anything else that even comes close to the body. The body bag
I can give you
carrying
two
it,
other things, which is King
the
Kong Bundy
special pin.
demanding a
Yeah.
five count. Is
Yes.
something I always liked, and also
But the
this is
subtlety of
something
how, yeah, go for it.
just to finish your thought, and then I'm gonna let you finish. Steve Austin and a few other people also lifting the shoulder, like lifting their opponent's shoulders to keep beating them up, is a
Yes,
great
the push
motive.
up next to them. Yeah.
What I will say, and it's the reason why it does work with Lance Archer and it does
Pinky
work with the
pin.
body, the pinky pin, the Undertaker with the body bag, is you can say that to someone who kind of likes wrestling and they'll go, I'll watch that. For example, the Lance Archer thing, that got me to watch Dark. Or basically, when I started watching AEW again, I went, I will watch Dark because I want to
Yeah.
see Lance Archer do that.
Because it's
That's fun.
fun.
It's
And
fun.
jobber matches, I feel like, are left in the past for no reason because it's like
I
everything
completely
is
agree.
digestible as like 15, 30-second clips now. So like what are jobber matches except for here's all his moves. Now you understand. You watched like 6 jobber matches of this dude. Now you understand when you're watching a match what the danger moves are when he faces another wrestler.
I completely agree. It also, I think, for me, gives it the appearance of a league. It also gives you an appearance of seeing someone's upward trajectory. So the nice thing about the Undertaker, and I think why the Undertaker appealed, is the Undertaker was the tentpole franchise player for the most committed fans wrestling has ever had. The children that watched the WWE as Hulk Hogan was fading into the sunset and heading to the WCW have always known the Undertaker to be on television and
Yeah.
always known the Undertaker is going to be a part of the WWF. Like it's kind of weird to think about this, but the Undertaker, like he was, you never thought the Undertaker was going to show up in WCW. I never thought he was going to show up in WCW. Everyone else, you kind of was like maybe. Him and Austin were the only ones like no way.
Yeah, and the gray and black Undertaker is definitely booked the strongest, even within the Undertaker being booked very strong. Kind of like you're moving into the mid 90s and he starts having to sell because you have to get more characters over. But when it's just him banging on characters that are already over and kind of proving like this guy is.
But the way that even he sells is pretty amazing. Like, bear in mind, this is a guy who
He sells
beats
like
Hulk Hogan.
Robocop.
He beats Hulk Hogan. Guys,
Mm-hmm.
he beats Hulk Hogan a year into being in the company. Yeah, it's a schmoz. Yeah, it ends in the title being stripped. But motherfucker, like, no one else
He doesn't
beat
lose.
Hulk
He
Hogan. He
doesn't have to
doesn't
give it
lose.
back.
Like, that doesn't happen. They didn't do that with Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant lost.
Yeah, after like 8 years. But I see what you're saying, man. And the other
And
thing about The Undertaker that is just keeping on how strongly he's booked, every other wrestler, they have a custom pin. They do that custom pin only against jobbers. Undertaker did the cross the heart head back thing against everybody. So it's like it's not like he, you know what I mean? Like Randy Orton,
yeah.
when Randy Orton's calling for the RKO, you in your head, you're like, all right, he's not hitting it. Or if like Shawn Michaels calling for the super kick, all right, he's not going to get sweet chin music. But the Undertaker can call for the tombstone, hit it, take a second, put the arms on the thing, do the head up, and you're like, all right, it's over. Not
What's
until like they break that convention until the 2010s. It's like
What's
20 years of him getting
so
that pin.
amazing too is that because that convention's so ingrained, when Kane did the cross arms out, it looked crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's such a there's so much subtlety about Kane that is like directly an offshoot of the Undertaker and works because the Undertaker character left it there. Like, of course, if you're gonna make a badass guy, you're gonna have him do like have him have fucking fire all over the place, but the Undertaker doesn't. It's just like mist, which is I don't know. There's a lot about the Undertaker, the Dead Man Undertaker, that's amazing, and a
Yeah.
lot of that is not as good. Like the American Badass is. That's what makes the American Badass so bad. Is that like you're just like, okay, we threw away one of the like perfect examples of a pro wrestling character and how it can work, and then just we're like, yeah, now he's
Your
divorced
dad. Now
and
he's
he
your
wants
dad.
to fucking show off his new bike.
Yeah. Hey, your dad's tired and he wants to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Tired.
Hey, you know what? I'm 50 and anyway, I
Yeah.
can't get hard anymore, but look at this bike.
Yeah, I can't get hard, but I still hate your wife or my wife. Ah, fuck me.
I'm dating a
Anyway,
girl who's 22 and no, we don't have sex because I am exhausted.
so Greg Love's Undertaker runs through Jimmy Snuka WrestleMania 7, runs through Jake the Snake WrestleMania 8. Greg Love's also Jake the Snake. He turns face in a great face turn of Jake the Snake wants to attack someone, and then Undertaker gets his like hand caught in the casket, and then Jake the Snake goes after
Yeah,
Paul
it's great.
Bearer. You don't fuck with Paul Bearer. Takes him fucking. Dude. Um, and
Which is a
then
good example of don't just use the wrestler as a heater, or like sorry, don't use the manager as just a heater. Oh, you're gonna get the shit kicked out of it. Like also using the manager as as a point of what do you call that? As a point of John, complete the sentence.
it's a point of vulnerability. The thing
There
with
you
Paul
go.
Bearer is Paul Bearer completely fit the character, but it also completely made sense that Paul Bearer was a weak little bitch, which is why the evolution of Paul Bearer and Undertaker is again perfect. The thing that never is ever talked about with Undertaker is there's so many outside factors that absolutely excelled his career that never get acknowledged. For example, the brilliance of having Percy Territory nerd Pringle as his fucking manager is worth his weight in fucking gold, because you also have this the thing that the Undertaker also is he looks really old, but he's like 25.
Yeah, he's 28 during the 1993. Like I guess you would say his prime before he gets fat. The
No.
American when he's the American Badass, he gets fat.
Yeah, his prime, I'm sorry, his prime is gray gloves to purple gloves to Ministry of like Ministry of Darkness is end of prime, and then
Yeah,
you're
his prime is
but
probably
in terms of it's 6
just
years
before
of
wrestling gets good again.
no. It's he's really good in the early parts of the Attitude Era. Because the early parts of the Attitude Era, you forget that's the Mick Foley Hell in the Cell. That's the whole Austin thing. That's the beginning of the Brothers of Destruction thing. That's Undertaker. I'm a hot topic manager. Like I'm in typo negative kind of Undertaker. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, the goatee.
Oh yeah, the goatee.
He is a guy who will do a no stash goatee still, and
Oh,
that I have to applaud.
I gotta tell you, if you can have, because you need to be able to do the goat. You know what I mean? You got to do the full
Mm.
Phil Anselmo. Don't ask me about my politics. You still want to enjoy my music, kind of beard. You know what I mean?
We should say he feuded in '93 with Giant Gonzalez, and that is the WrestleMania
Woo!
win that nobody talks about
Disagree. I talk
because
about it all the time because it
well,
was a
you
count
do.
out. Yeah, it was a count out, and he has the best part, which he comes back from being chloroformed. It's the only time I've ever seen them use chloroform. Outside of that Ring of Honor angle they all talk about with Jim Cornette that they're all very upset about.
Who was what happened there?
Jim Cornette did a chloroform angle in Ring of Honor, and like some Ring of Honor fans still are like, because I just remember when Jim Cornette like his podcast first started, a shitload of Ring of Honor fans was like, this guy doesn't know shit about wrestling. He tried to do a chloroform angle with the Briscoes, and I was just like, stop trying to take this seriously, you fucks.
Yeah, but it's interesting when it's kind of like, and you use a lot of parental analogies, but Jim Cornette in Ring of Honor really is like your dad joins the Pixies or whatever
That's
cool
exactly
band you
correct.
want to
Yeah,
talk about,
exactly. Yeah.
where it's like, oh, this thing was cool. Well, you know what?
Yeah, it
Now
would
it's
be
not.
like if my dad, Stephen Hastings, joined the Pixies. No, we're going to keep it at the same tempo. We're not slowing it down and then
Mm.
speeding it up. That doesn't make any sense. Your name's not
I have to take a
Francis.
call. Do the concert yourself.
Yeah, your name is not Frank. Your name is Christopher or whatever.
Yeah. Frank's too fancy a name.
Yeah.
We'll
Also,
settle it down to Dave.
I guarantee he's like a lady bass player. What is this? Hell?
Oh, great. What's song 3 on the album going to be? Your Period? Get out of here.
Yeah, come on. What are we gonna get attacked by a bear on stage? Get out of here.
uh oh yeah. And he's in some very chef's kiss angles
Oh yeah.
from your childhood of two Undertakers, of course.
Oh, but can we
Um
first talk about losing to Yokozuna in the cat? Okay, first there's the Kamala casket match, which is so crazy because they use giant nails to lock in the casket, and the whole
mhm.
premise is this bad guy's afraid of confined spaces, and so we're gonna put him in there.
Oh, and that is the grand tradition of this guy's afraid of the casket, and then they are like, "How are we gonna get a casket for this fucking fat guy?" That was another big thing.
Well, that's the thing. It was the double enforced casket for Yokozuna because he
Oh
was so
yeah,
fat.
chunky, chunky fat boy.
Yeah,
That
he
was
was.
another. Yum yum, you love food too much. I'm
Yeah,
going to kill you underground. That was a lot of the
yeah.
promos.
The one of the promos was there's not going to be any fucking dinner underground, Yoko Boko, and he was like, "What? Why'd you go Yoko Boko? Why are you
Oh, that
speaking
was one of the
English?"
fun. That was one of the fun things. Was like the good guy wanted to bury a guy alive.
Yeah, there's nothing. That's a hero right there. You know what I like to do to my enemies? Have them slowly suffocate outdoors.
Mm, yeah, it's really fucking sick.
I have a question. If you're in a casket, are you inside or outside if you're in the ground?
Ooh, I think you're inside.
I think you are
That's a
inside.
really good question.
Yeah, I think you're inside. But that's like it's like if you're wearing a towel, are you naked? No. You are. You know what I mean? You're much
Uh,
closer to naked than if you're wearing clothes. In the same
no,
way that
you're
if
wearing a
you're
towel. I think nudity is just that's interesting too. It's like if you're, what if you had full clothes but my dick's out? Am I? You're not naked, but if someone's just covering your dick. I think it's anything that covers your genitals and your torso. And
so if I got a hard dick and I put my hat on it, then I'm wearing clothes. Because if that's true, I'm ordering lunch.
I think yeah, I think you better get some lunch then, buddy, because I think
I'm
you're
wearing
naked.
I'm wearing a shirt, I'm wearing shoes, I got a hard dick, and I put a hat over top of it. Yeah, I'd like to be served at this Arby's.
Yeehaw. Yeehaw, I'll take
I
the
guarantee if
salad.
you walk into a Wendy's or an Arby's like that, they're like, not again.
Okay. So many details that become associated with the. Oh yeah, 94 basically he fucking that's when you get purple gloves Undertaker.
Okay, well, first, what you get is Undertaker sits out WrestleMania 10 because it takes 11 heels to put him in a fucking box. And then on the screen, his ghost goes up to heaven or hell.
Oh yeah.
And as a kid, I got to tell
And he
you,
comes back with
quietly,
fucking sick ass sleeve tattoos.
certainly does, and fucking sweet purple gloves. That Royal Rumble is number two after Ric Flair's Royal Rumble. 93 Royal Rumble as a pay-per-view is so wild. You get I kicked your leg out of your leg. You get
Mhm.
Undertaker going to heaven. You get Brett and Lex Luger actually landing at the same time miraculously.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy that it's been agreed that that was the plan all along, and it was just they were just going to fake it. And Brett's just a magic man, like he can bend time because he's cheated on his wife so much. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, he possesses the singularity.
There's an episode of Quantum Leap where one of the many affairs that he had helps him get there on time.
Yeah, that's correct. If their feet hadn't touched the ground at the same time, 9/11 would have happened over a week.
um oh yeah, the then you get Ted DiBiase. People forget this. The $1 million corporation and
uh,
the that is the ultimate like we're fucking Ted DiBiase leaves for WCW, and it's honestly one of the best things that could possibly happen because
yeah,
the million
because
dollar corporation is a classic like holy fuck, we really don't have many ideas here. Heel
did you always
teams.
find that the $1 million corporation was like, let's do the Four Horsemen, but the charismatic one was JJ, and you're like, no, 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 no.
Because
And
it really is Ted DiBiase and then just nobody who's a main eventer.
yeah, like the most charismatic person is Kama, is Godfather in the Kama times, which is like he's a he does jujitsu or whatever the fuck that is.
Oh yeah, he's from Street Fighter. That's pretty much his character. Is
Yeah,
like he's fucking from Street. Oh yeah, and then he melted the urn down to a sick chain, which is pretty dope.
that was pretty fucking cool. And then he comes back with a big fucking giant urn.
And then it's like it is like there's got to be more like the WWF was kind of left behind because you have like these super athletic main eventers, and then like oh who's your mid carders then? Probably really athletic. Nope. No, just a bunch of pretty much just a bunch of oatmeal and pants.
Have
That's what we got going on.
you ever seen a guy in a winter coat and you've thought that guy wears a shirt to the beach? All of those guys.
Yeah, like King Kong Bundy, which I obviously he's back. Kama's a great character, but And Kama's also like
Kama
one
was a
of
great character after Kama. Like it was that thing of they figured out, well, this is a really charismatic guy. The Attitude Era was sort of like, oh, this is a charismatic guy. Charismatic guys can also be big. They don't just have to be brutes. And what's interesting is King Kong
I
Bundy
thought
was
Kama
brought.
looked fucking cool, but the other thing is clearly Kama like, oh yeah, he's a fucking pit fighter guy from Street Fighter. Okay, he must be able to do some cool wrestling. Not even a bit.
No,
No, he can't. Not even a touch of cool wrestling.
can he like throw a punch? I mean, he can. It doesn't look good, but he can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a street fight. Okay, and most of the moves in street fights are chin locks and axe handles to the middle of the back.
Yeah.
You know how you've seen UFC when they just axe handle each other in the back and rest a lot and literally bring pillows because nap time.
You know, in a lot of street fights, how they just fully rest for 10 minutes in the corner while the other opponent just looks confused.
They just agree that they're gonna both, I don't know, look through their mail halfway through.
Yeah.
Anyway, then you get one of the calling cards of it's a
Okay, well,
downtime in
but
professional wrestling,
hang on,
which is
we
the
got to back up.
Undertaker in the title picture.
We have not covered Undertaker versus Undertaker, which is we touched on it, which is Ted DiBiase goes, I now control the Undertaker. I brought him into this company. Really good reference of like how long
This
the
is the
Undertaker's been
6'2"
here.
Undertaker, yeah.
And then they bring in Brian Lee as the Undertaker from Stampede Wrestling. Brian Lee, only person apparently. The Sinister Minister was going to have sex with a lady who likes sleeping with wrestlers, and then he didn't because she had a tattoo above her vagina that said "Prime Time."
Yeah, which is his character went from like I'm fucking a biker who choke slams the fuck out of people to like I'm the Undertaker too now.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he's also wearing lifts. That's one of the big.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing.
Mabel breaks his fucking face during this time, and you
Oh,
get the Phantom of the
yeah.
Undertaker.
Yes, Mabel breaks his face. Is Mabel also herniated a disc in Kevin Nash's back? I know how that feels. I currently feel like I'm shitting out of my spine.
Yeah.
And then we get the Phantom of the Opera, Undertaker, and then we get the biggest sign that WCW is winning. Let's put the belt on Undertaker. He's not going anywhere because I know how to negotiate, which is Mark, you'll be signed, and also I will send a letter to your dad that says you're tougher than him.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, oh yeah, the Undertaker goes against Justin Hawk Bradshaw. I think Justin Hawk Bradshaw was the best JBL character ever.
I can't disagree with you. It's my favorite thing ever. It's so awkward to say his nickname, Justin, and then the absolutely brutal H, Hawk Bradshaw.
Oh yeah, and that was with he was like, oh, what's a fucking Uncle Zeke?
He was with Uncle Zebekiah. He was with Dutch
Uncle
Mantel.
Zebekiah.
Because
Yeah,
Zeb,
Dutch Mantel.
this is the craziest thing that the WWE occasionally is just like, we're connecting these dots. And it's like, why are you connecting these dots? You haven't ever told me who raised the briefcase at the King of the Ring 99, but you're going to let me know that Uncle Zebekiah and Zeb Coulter are the same guy. What are you fucking doing, bro?
I do like that. Yeah, no one knows who GTV was, but now we're gonna have this as canon. Like,
you know who
whatever.
You know who GTV was supposed to be?
Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Gold Dust and Tom Green.
And Tom Green.
Apparently Tom Green was going to play a role in it somehow. Which right there, I'm like,
sure. I mean, that's the most 1999 things you could have.
Yeah, because bear in mind, this is the time pre-XFL. Vince McMahon was the fucking man. Like he was like,
yeah.
Hollywood were like, we got to get this guy. He knows how to appeal to the kids. And then they were just like, oh, he's just figured out that teen boys like black shirts and women being attacked.
Yeah. Show your tits. If you don't, kick them.
Yep.
What? How does this guy?
Yeah.
He figured it all out.
Is it the shoes they're using to kick the women?
I think that after the Mankind angle.
Okay, so this is the thing.
That is when the Undertaker switches from like it's good. I don't know, man. I think
disagree.
Purple Gloves Undertaker is pretty much his peak.
Purple Gloves Undertaker is excellent, but the Mankind entry after WrestleMania 12 and that feud throughout between WrestleMania 12 and WrestleMania 13 is the fucking best. This is a career-making feud. This makes Mick Foley's career, and I honestly think this ascends the Undertaker. The Undertaker getting the belt at WrestleMania 13 was going to happen no matter what because of outside circumstances. But the Undertaker that gets the belt at WrestleMania for 13 versus the Undertaker that doesn't have the feud with Mankind that gets the belt WrestleMania 13, vastly different characters. There's vulnerability added to the Undertaker. He loses Paul Bearer. Those matches are crazy, and it's not like Mankind is bigger. It's more just sort of like, this guy's a crazy fuck. And they also did the thing that they so rarely do in the WWF, which is this guy would definitely feud with this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Mankind is pretty much one of those characters who's brought in specifically just to feud with the Undertaker.
And it works. That's the
Post,
thing.
yeah,
It
post
never works
Hogan,
again.
the Undertaker is the guy that they just have a heel machine for, and it works. And that's the other thing is like the
Does
heel
it?
machine.
Okay, but who does it work? It doesn't always work. It didn't work
No,
with
I
the
mean it
$1 Million
works
Club.
in generating interest for an Undertaker match. The characters are all blendered like immediately, like Kamala, Bundy, obviously Undertaker Jr., Giant Gonzalez, like all these guys are
Yeah.
nothing.
It's a great point. And then from Mankind, it's like, oh shit. Like it's also, there's a vulnerability. It's like, oh, it's gonna take something nuts, but someone's gonna fucking get this guy.
Yeah, Mankind's kind of like what Macho Man was to
Hulk Hogan.
Hogan. Yeah, where it's like
Yeah.
this guy's smaller, but look how fucking nuts he is. And he came in with like he was one of the first guys, or at least I mean, I was in grade 6 at this point, so it's like I knew Mankind was Cactus Jack, and I was just okay with it. Where I'm like, this guy's fucking nuts. This is
But
gonna be
that
great.
made it better because I went, holy shit. Like you knew, because the thing is, all you just heard was like, oh, Cactus Jack does wrestling in Japan where they'll fucking kill you. And you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. You knew that he would like get stabbed, and this is the towards the end of the aftermags where it's like there's nothing stronger than you can watch you can watch full matches of people now, which is kind of like, oh, I know exactly what this guy's going to do when he enters the, but there's nothing as powerful as just like literally all you just saw were bloody pictures of this guy. You're like, is this guy gonna fucking stab the fucking Undertaker?
Fucking hope so, right?
I fucking hope so. But the Undertaker faces Mankind, and then do you want to take a break now, and then we can do
I do want to take a 5-minute break so I can stretch because the
you're talking
rights.
shit, but your Zoom is held up. We're doing this one over Zoom.
I can't believe my Zoom is held up. Yeah, no, it's just
I think that's when it's just 2 people, then you don't get the 40-minute limit, right?
I think so. Just the right side of my body is currently in crippling pain.
Okay, so we'll take 5 minutes, and then we'll be right back with more about the Undies Taker. What's he cunt?
Welcome back to part 2. Let's eat piss.
Let's freeze it. Let's fuck it. Let's cook it.
Undertaker is the world champion. This is the weird thing where his main opponent is Mankind. Mankind sets him on fire, and then as retaliation, the Undertaker sets Paul Bearer on fire. And then Paul Bearer is burnt and was like, I'm gonna fucking reveal your secret, you little bitch.
This is very crazy because it's like the WWF is at an impasse. I never really thought about this until like, what if they didn't have ECW to go off of? What if they were like, okay, the Undertaker's our guy. Let's fucking his challenger is the concept of hate.
Yeah, and guess what? He's on hate side. Love has no place here.
And they shake hands and they fucking easily beat Martin Luther King Sr. in a handicap match.
Whoa, he's still around?
Sure.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, this builds to the greatest angle of the Undertaker's career. Undertaker versus Kane. Holy fucking shit.
When does the oh yeah, because the fucking Mankind Undertaker match is like after this. Oh yeah, this is the ultimate. This is an Undertaker opponent done so well that that opponent sticks around for 20 years, and it's also the Undertaker that they can job out. Like
Yeah,
it's like
they literally
he's literally the jobber.
We
he's
need
the
to make
heater
an
Undertaker.
That's exactly right. We need to make an Undertaker that can be in a lot of tag teams.
Which is so crazy because it's like, why wouldn't they? Only in pro wrestling would you not pivot off of the Undertaker character and give all of that juice to Kane?
Yeah, you don't. They just go, there's enough The fruit is so juicy. Two men
Like he's so much.
enjoy the tomato.
Kane, the original Kane, when it's like his whole body's burnt, he only has the one
He has no
arm.
dick.
He has no dick. But like before they get into all that shit,
The
where they
voice
have to
box.
like,
I
yeah, voice
will
box Kane.
set myself on fire.
Gay is a choice. That
Yeah,
one.
exactly. I don't see color, but I do see race.
That's just how you shouldn't speak. It's a bunch of bleep.
Yeah.
Anyway,
When
but
January 6th comes and you'll learn what that is.
but Kane is clearly cooler than the Undertaker. The Undertaker like is started to get fat,
Disagree.
but
Kane's the cape that Kane decides to wear at first is a real mistake. But it
how I don't remember the cape at all.
it's only at
How often?
Survivor Series 1997, and that's what I remember from that Survivor Series.
I don't remember that cape at all. I just remember Kane coming in.
It's fucking
At first, he
great.
doesn't
It's
even do the
the
fucking choke
greatest
slam. He
way
does
to
the Sid Justice choke slam where the jobber jumps, so it looks like he's fucking killing these guys. The job squad shit where he just triple choke slammed everybody. He's in red. He uses fire. It's
they
fucking
change the
sick.
lights when he walks out to the ring. He doesn't do matches. He just beats the
Yep.
shit out of people, saying
Yep.
that you're going to do this. They create situations where they'll put Sonny in the ring being a referee for the minis matches, and then have Kane come out and beat the shit out of some little people. This is also, by the way, for background, one of the first big fallouts between Jim Cornette and Vince Russo happens over this angle, because Vince Russo wanted Kane to beat The Undertaker on Raw in a match the next day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
But it ends up being like the strongest the Undertaker's ever booked, because it's like Kane murders everybody for a long time. And then the Undertaker's angle is, oh, I could totally fucking smash this dude super easy, but do I want to?
No, it's even better than that. I won't hit my brother. And then
Mhm.
he's driven to hit his brother because his brother joins DX, even though he doesn't have a dick. So he can't do the suck it motion, and costs him the belt against Shawn Michaels. And none of that is embellished. That is exactly what happens. I love wrestling in 1997. And this leads to a match at WrestleMania 14, which The Undertaker barely wins. This is the thing, is it's a 50-50 booked match, which The Undertaker, like even that Shawn Michaels match, one person is the aggressor, one person is the defender.
Mhm.
The whole match. Woo! Only in that match is The Undertaker coming from behind and kind of squeaks out a victory. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. WrestleMania 14 does
Well,
not
because it
get the
takes how many
respect.
tombstones?
450,000.
The Undertaker tombstones, one for every lie that they made about the vax.
That's 10 tombstones.
10 tombstones.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the vaccine is a lie. That's the first thing. Second
Can I
thing
just
is
say
this is the
just
first multiple tombstones.
a quick obs, by the way? Canada, in terms of people that don't believe in the vaccine, most easily to spot of every country I've been to in 2021 and 2022. Canada, it's always a guy where I'm like, I think that guy's on coke. And then he walks up to you and the first thing he says is, you better not have that fucking vaccine in you. And you're like, I fucking knew it. Whose winter coat is this open?
We're like one of the most vaccinated countries in the world,
But
probably.
that's you are. But that's why.
And then you can spot, yeah. And
yeah,
then
it's why
like
you could spot them.
anyone
easy.
with anyone holding a yoga mat.
It's so the Woo to Q. Oh my god, I love it.
I mean, that's like, dude. If you, I said this on stage yesterday, but if you killed everyone that did yoga, then you'd have the vaccine rate would be 95%.
100%. I have 2 ex-girlfriends that I have not checked the keep their social media private, and I'm very upset because I popped in to see what their takes were on the whole situation, and I can't find out, but I have a suspicion.
Yeah, the suspicion is they still want the old dong. Anyway,
no, they don't believe in the vaccine, and I was gonna laugh.
Oh no, yeah. Okay, you just took that seriously, which makes it way loserier. So then he easily destroys Kane and
sets up for the
with
Inferno match.
There's that feud with Vader where Vader is just like, which one? Oh no, that's the Kane angle.
Yeah,
I'm
but
a fat piece of shit.
Yeah, and that's born out of this, because Vader attacks Kane after the Inferno match that then leads to the Kane Vader match at Over the Edge 1998. Can't believe I remember this pay-per-view. which leads to the I'm just a fat piece of shit because they're doing a mask versus mask match, which makes no sense because Vader's mask came off
Yeah,
at every
he
match.
takes it all. He takes the mask off all the time.
Doesn't make any sense. It just clearly shows Vince never watched Vader anywhere else. And this is when the Undertaker is becoming kind of the tweener. Is he like he doesn't like Steve Austin, but he's still a fan favorite, and he's a big brute, and he starts wearing tunics and looks real
They keep
cool.
trying to make the Undertaker modern when you're going into this real wrestling, and it's like
And
he was really the best part of, because I will posit this: the Undertaker's still in the top mix because obviously he's one of Grim Vince's greatest things is he gets the Undertaker to basically buy into being a team player and just an employee and all this shit. But he never really gets his groove back Stella wise until he's um faces Kane at I forget what WrestleMania and comes back as the full dead man.
WrestleMania 20. So
Yeah.
let's take this through. It's very exciting. Dylan, are you hard? I'm hard.
Mm.
Because because here's the thing: is after Inferno match, that's night. Then we have him and Austin are slowly building towards that SummerSlam. He loses to Austin at that SummerSlam, but that SummerSlam is very like it's fun of like whose side is the Undertaker on? Oh, the Undertaker does want Austin's belt. It's a very fun build, and it's the best version they could kind of do of Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan in the Attitude Era. Then it turns out Kane and the Undertaker are working together. This is the first run of the Brothers of Destruction. It takes both of them to defeat Steve Austin, which is really great in that it sets up that they hate each other and also Austin's a badass. We go into it's a deadly game. They get the classic Hogan Andre bye in the tournament. So they're immediately in the second round. This, of course, ends with The Rock becoming the champion. They spin off Kane, so he's kind of his own man. And The Undertaker starts moving towards the Ministry of Darkness angle, which takes him from I'm the lead singer of Typo Negative to I only drink Typo Negative blood, baby. And the
Yeah.
Ministry of Darkness is, I'm going to say it, lame.
Is it good? Because it's
It
like
is kind of good. It did bring
you're
us
doing
Naked Midian, which is
stables.
awesome.
You're doing stables, which is like what they're doing obviously in WCW, but you found a different way to do it where it's like, oh yeah, you know how the NWO is a bunch of bikers? Well, these guys I'm pretty sure have group sex.
Yeah, you see these guys, they've totally pissed on a passed out girl.
That's
Who,
right.
who do you want to party with? This
These
guy.
guys are the type of polyamorous where the girl's not allowed to sleep with anyone but other hot chicks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these are the kind of polyamorous guys that really ends with long Facebook paragraphs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right wing hippies. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Speak of woo to Q.
Oh yeah, baby. But anyway, yeah, I mean the Ministry of Darkness, the Undertaker's they're
What a
clearly
dad
don't
voice that was.
the Undertaker doesn't have enough they don't have enough new heels really. It's so interesting like the difference 2 or 3 years makes in this time
That's
period
so
in
funny.
wrestling.
Yeah, because the Attitude Era's main heel is just Vince and his pals.
And
And
then
what's
like we talked about in the McMahon year of McMahon, it's like is what's the difference between 2006 and 2014 really? It's like, okay, well, we have all the same fucking heels. It's just now Sheamus is wearing a smaller hat. Do you know what I mean? Like versus 96, you get Undertaker in tail end of the purple gloves, and then by 98, he's stealing the boss's daughter to kill her
That's
in
right.
effigy for.
Correct.
And this is the symbol. It wasn't the cross, it's a symbol.
Yeah, it was not a symbol. That was very important. And in no way were they just ripping off the time that they crucified Sandman on ECW TV.
No. Which was way scarier because it was like it's so much cleaner in the WWE. Like it's so much cleaner and so much like more thought out versus the ECW is like, yeah, like let's get some real fucking rope. Maybe some random rope I found in the garbage and
Can I just say this about Paul Heyman? That's a guy who never thinks about the consequences. All right, I got Kurt Angle coming. He is an Olympic gold medalist. What's happening in the third quarter of our show? We're gonna crucify an alcoholic. I don't see how any of this is gonna be a problem. All right, let's start the show.
you ever apply for a clean gig with something that you're like, well, there's no swearing in it, and then you realize it's like, oh, this whole joke was about a guy killing himself? I've definitely done that, and I feel like that's what Paul Heyman did.
I for sure I can tell
It's
you
like, yeah, we're gonna crucify a guy, but we're not gonna have any blood.
I once applied to a festival and I didn't realize that I didn't clip I had like a clean bit and then there's a heckler right after the clean bit and I responded by saying, I'm gonna gape your asshole and spit on your soul.
And then you cut out the clean bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you just that with no context?
Yeah, I just sent that.
Not even the provocation, just
Yeah.
that's just my fucking application.
Let me into Gilda Fest. I want to be part of the
I want to
Gilda
be a
Red.
part of the Women in Comedy Festival.
Oh my god. I think about this every time I go into an open mic, there was a period of time where Dylan and I were real looky-loos on a certain Facebook group that covered a certain city's stand-up scene while we were living in England. And there was a post where someone was like, I'll tell you why I go to all women shows. It's because I want to see what other people are doing stand-up wise. In no way am I trying to intimate that I'm better than them at stand-up. And I was like,
what?
Do you remember that post? We'll talk about
I don't.
It was the best.
I remember nothing. That doesn't really make any sense to me. But anyway, did you know this?
I do.
Did you know that the Undertaker was in the corporate ministry too, which was like, let's fucking why not?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, so because it turns out that Shane was with them all along, helping the Undertaker, trying to.
This is where it's like.
This is where it gets so weird. Okay, so
99 and 98 are like the reason they have a, what do you call that? A guy doing just to see cohesion, just to see if everything's cohesive storyline wise, is pretty much because they're like, and then Kane and the Undertaker are friends, but also they're not. And Kane burnt his dick off. Psych, he has 2 dicks now.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's like, okay, so how do I explain how we're gonna do this? The Kane and Undertaker are friends, but because Paul Bearer is involved and Paul Bearer fucked the Undertaker's mom to make Kane, they are on the side of Vince McMahon, who's friends with Triple H. So Triple H is there, but
That's another thing. Who's the Undertaker's fucking dad, Paul Bearer, and then it's like, then it gets good. Like, it gets
no, it's
good.
First of all, you piece of shit. Kane is Paul Bearer's son. The Undertaker's mom is just a whore, which I believe Paul Bearer did say.
Oh yeah,
Monday Night Raw.
she was a whore.
I think it was your mommy was a whore. And I gotta say this right now. You want to know AEW's ratings are floundering? Let me tell you how you save it, big boys. You get a high-voiced man and you get him to say whore in the middle of the ring. Britt Baker coming up next. Whore! Those ratings.
Oh, okay. We should mention this. We get the Undertaker. So here's the Ministry of Darkness. It's actually a pretty solid stable. The Undertaker, Bradshaw and Farouk, the Brood, Midian and Viscera. That's not bad.
It's not bad.
That's like everyone. There are no work. I guess Edge and Christian are the
Edge and
only guys
Christian
who would
are
ever
the-
bump for anyone. But
Are the workers and Gangrel. Gangrel, he's got a weird reputation. That guy's weirdly a good wrestler. And I'm going to say this, best version of the DDT I've ever seen.
really,
I love it. That's one of the best. I don't understand how that finishing move has not been stolen. It's just a DDT, but you basically make the person look like they're getting the diamond cutter. Just kick your legs out for the DDT as opposed to fall flat. Holy shit, does that thing look vicious? Ministry of Darkness is the most Jim Ross stable I've ever seen in my life. Let me take you through that point. Here's this point.
it is a very everything is old is new again, because it's very much like, how about Kevin Sullivan, but it's the Undertaker too, back to sleep.
That's exactly where I was going, which is it's the Kevin Sullivan angle. He was talking to Kevin Sullivan while walking by a hot topic, and he went, by God, there we go. Like,
well, also, when does Columbine happen? Because you remember these are like, this is fucking
started masturbating.
yeah. Because you checked out the fucking Columbine. That's what
I
that
know
means.
exact. Do you know I think I know the exact date of Columbine, and this is
Sure.
not good for my reputation. I believe it's April 20th, 1999, because my grandmother was smoking.
Yeah. It's
weed, and
it's
she
420.
and
La
she
la
was,
la la la
and she
la
was
la.
like, "Yo, this is fucking heavy, bro."
Ew, it's actually sick that this happened. So the corporate ministry was 9 days after Columbine.
I
Oh,
guarantee.
we just
Oh, it
filmed
was
that
so
vignette in
secure.
Colorado, and now we're gonna do this stable.
I
Austin was late on the
guarantee.
run-in. That's why Columbine happened.
Yeah, let me tell you. Oh, can by the way, who remembers Howard Stern's reaction to Columbine? Do you remember what it was,
Oh
Dylan?
yeah, no, I don't. I
You
mean,
want me to
no
tell
one
you?
does.
Do you
John,
want me to
tell
tell
me.
you? I'll tell you why those guys shut up the school. No one had sex with them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If
They're
you'd
incels.
if you'd had sex with them, you would have
That
lived.
was a lot of that. That was very 1999 thing. What happened? Well, someone should have sucked that guy off.
Yeah. That man was angry because all of the cum in his body was getting old. Your fault. Okay. What happened?
Women
Well,
who are
long
otherwise known as dick
yeah.
caretakers should have sucked that guy off.
What happened in Littleton, Colorado? In a macro sense, a woman let us down again.
Oh yeah, the fucking what was it? So this was also the fucking higher power, where it's like the urn, everything was the higher
Yes.
power, and then
And
it was Vince
who is the
McMahon,
higher
and that was
power
the
supposed to
first
be?
time.
Christopher Daniels in the greatest lie that Bruce Pritchard has ever told.
That's
In no
ridiculous.
way is that true. Shut the fuck up, Bruce. Oh, it's supposed to be Christopher Daniels? That's interesting. Was Brother Love supposed to be the world champion? You fucking dick.
The one thing I will say that I've heard and would have made the most sense was with the gift of sobriety,
Go ahead.
Jake the Snake Roberts would have been a great because it would just made sense that it was Jake the Snake Roberts. He was the higher power the whole time.
Holy shit. That would have been
Right? Because I was like, who brought him in? It was Bruce Pritchard and DiBiase and fucking Jake. So
oh my god. So because what's weird is about the higher power when they go, oh, such bullshit that it was Vince, but it's also that thing of like, well, who else was it gonna be?
yeah, and then Jake coming back like after, oh please, for the love of God, I'm an alcoholic character
And that
with
was years
with a
later. This
snake
is
vest on.
you're not bringing that no that character. I was an alcoholic, now I'm a Christian. That's 97.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
yeah, but what I'm saying is that by 99, he's jacking off a snake with Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Like you're not bringing Jake in. Like
Oh, that's what I mean though. That's what I mean. Same
oh
with sobriety. Anyway, they could have done Jake, but it's like you put yourself in this corner where it's like this was also the definitive like wrestling is not going to make sense and I don't think anyone's going to give a shit, and they were right.
I didn't give a shit. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really fun.
I fucking hated it. I remember but I was like nerd I was like there are two pills. One's called you date in high school and one's called sorry you just already had the other one that said wrestling on it.
What's
Dylan, you
weird?
ate a whole box of the don't date in high
Yeah.
school. Let's get dirty and talk about SA Rios.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you know what?
Sex
So,
feels good for 45 seconds or however long
yeah,
you
but
nut.
knowing
I
about
nut for a
SA
full minute, but
no, but knowing who S.A. Rios is, that makes you
it's
feel good
forever.
all the time. He wore a
Yeah, it means you
bandana even when he was wrestling. That's fucking
exactly.
cool. Who is he? J
Net-
Lo.
networking.
Um,
Networking.
the corporate ministry. Of course, he gets another title run in here. They have a match where him and the Raw keep tying each other to their symbols, which is just I'm all about that. They he wins the match at Over the Edge 1998, the most ECW like WWE pay per view I've ever seen. And fun fact about Owen Hart's death, I remember this last time this brought up. A friend of mine's dad, a kid named Kevin, his dad came out of his house and said, I'll never forget this one. Hey, one of those wrestlers died. I fucking hate wrestling, man. And then he just went inside.
Oh yeah, they probably I guess he's dead. Probably not.
Yeah, probably fake.
They're
Fuck
not
you.
people. Uh so September 23rd, 1999, McMahon was going to remove the Undertaker from the Unforgiven main event if he refused to participate in a casket match against Triple H. Undertaker retorted he did not care and maybe he would not be participating in WWF any longer. Walked out of WWF. He had a big old groin injury. He fixed his dick. And then, of course, got a pec muscle tear, comes back as
I am American Badass. Watch me. Radio edit. Now,
I'm kind of stone cold. That's the other thing is he's
yeah,
kind of stone cold.
I'm Stone Cold's dad. Basically, he's Frank.
No, just like a guy from Austin's hometown is his new
Yeah.
character.
Basically, the Undertaker came back as that girl you liked in high school went to college and came back with a much older boyfriend. That's who the American Badass is. Like, you guys still smoke? Nah, I like girls. That's like he's just like what the
Oh,
fuck?
also, I think my favorite thing is They don't, and this is not ironic. This is like real. They don't explain. They're just like, this is fucking, this is how it is now. Like they
Is it
don't explain
not only did
him
they do that,
changing his
they talked
character. He's
about
just
things
like,
they
whatever.
talked about him on things like WWE Confidential as like the Undertaker knows how to evolve. Like they actually do kind of hint at it. Like they're like
Yeah.
he's taken a step forward. All this sort of stuff. It's also that sort of thing of I guarantee people like Jim Ross and Mean Mark Callous were so much happier with the American Badass because it's like, no, this is good. And then in a couple of years, we're going to be ready for my perfect character, Zombie, who does jujitsu.
Mixed martial zombie.
Now the American Badass. This is the if Undertaker was a band. This is the period in time where for no reason he just uses synths. Like it's just like, oh fuck.
But he really
No.
just becomes a more actualized version of Mean Mark Callis or Texas Red. It's just
Christ,
literally,
yes, he does, doesn't he?
yeah. He stops doing the tombstone. He just switches to the power bomb. But the power bomb is like the concussion bomb, where it's like, I'm gonna fucking and it's like the last ride is really just a it's a power bomb, and then he lifts them up a bit higher and just fucking tries to kill them.
Yeah, there is the Kurt Angle match that ends with Kurt Angle's brother being pinned. Another
Mhm.
match that people do not like. I love that finish. I got to tell you this right now. Anytime they replace the guy, and I even if I catch it, I love it. It's just like it's one of those things where you're not going to do that in boxing, and they should do that in boxing. By the way, if they did that in the UFC for no reason, Paddy Pimblett replaced Conor McGregor in a match mid-fight. Oh, I got to tell you, if Dana White ends up getting fired, I'm trying for that job, and the UFC will be bankrupt, but it will be a
Oh, he
wild
just
six
hit his
months.
wife on tape a bunch, so he's still
Just
not
fun.
going to get fired, and
Um,
that's sick.
you did see Brendan Schaub's reaction to it.
I have not, and I will not, and I will never.
Let me tell you what it was because this is how I found out. I opened Twitter and it was recommended for you, which I don't appreciate. Twitter that hurts. That hurts. And it was just Brendan Schaub, and it was the Dana White story. And Brendan Schaub wrote, "He apologized for this like a man. That's what you do." And I was like, Brendan, God, I hope you have CTE. God, I
Oh,
hope you
he was
do.
like, "Please hire me, please, Dana White." But anyway, that's why we need burner accounts. Um, let's just fucking have a burner account, guys. I won't watch any comedy on it. I'll just watch sports highlights, and that'll be who I am. Anyway, Survivor Series, The Undertaker was with Kane, The Rock, Chris Jericho, and Big Show. Oh yeah, he faced the Alliance, which is very funny. Also, like
Oh
he's
yes,
still brothers with Kane. I don't know, man.
this is the part that makes no sense, which is yeah, he is a biker now, but he used to be that dead guy. Like that's the thing that makes no sense. He also goes through like it's like
But it
he's a
does make sense. It's like, yeah, he's immortal and he won't die, but it doesn't mean he has to fucking dress weird.
I disagree. I feel like he got his powers from the urn. If he doesn't have the urn, then he's no longer immortal. He's just a regular guy. It's like if
Yeah.
Superman got amnesia. Do we need to get into the minutia of this character? Dylan, you have a child to raise, and I'm fine that you don't see him for another full hour if we debate the merits of the storyline elements of the American Badass.
Preacher, you ever read the Preacher
I
comic?
certainly have. And did I watch the
So
Preacher television show? Yes, very bad. Wouldn't
so yeah, but maybe it's like that where it's like, yeah, he's fucking undead, but he smokes too.
that be fucking cool?
Oh yeah, sorry, he's undead, but that doesn't mean he doesn't like friggin' Stevie Ray Vaughan or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, sure, the fighting isn't real, but the chewing of tobacco is. I can't tell
Mm.
you anything he does post. Like he's just kind of around. Like he has a great match at WrestleMania X7 with Triple H, where he last rides him into breaking up with China. And then he has a Ric Flair match at WrestleMania X8. First time the streak is mentioned. WrestleMania X9, he literally somehow buries his own tag team partner, Nathan Jones, while facing A Train
Oh
and the Big
yeah.
Show. It is so crazy that it's like, why would you still make that a handicap match?
Well, this
Just do
is Big
Undertaker.
Evil. You're
No, is
talking
it?
you're
I don't
not
think he's Big Evil
you
yet.
skipped
I thought it
over
was.
Big
I
Evil.
thought Big Evil was later than this. I thought Big Evil was like
Oh,
right
the
before.
Big Evil, as the vivacious and curvy Christopher Hobson has outlined, was 2001, 2003.
Shit. So Ric Flair faced the Big Evil. How did Ric? Oh well,
The
no shit. Ric
no,
Flair.
remember that? heel turn, the Undertaker was like, I'm a heel now. But like he couldn't just be like, I'm a bad guy now for no reason. He was like, the fans don't respect me. And then everyone was like, what?
Yeah, they do,
What are you
man.
talking about? Everyone's but basically he could have gone on the mic and be like, you're bored with me, so I'm gonna be a bad guy now. And everyone would be like, that's fine. And then like, you know what I mean? But
Yep, sounds
he
good.
doesn't, and that's is what it is. Big Texas Red, Mean Mark Callis running wild again. But I think the real thing about the American Badass Undertaker and what they did during this period, even though it is all over the place, that they don't do now, is there's like 6 guys in that upper mix who can beat anybody and are
Yeah,
booked like that.
very much. And
Versus now it's like
the
2.
champion, it would be the. Are you saying then it was 6? Now it's 2?
Yes. Now it's Brock Lesnar and Roman
Roman
Reigns,
Reigns.
maybe Bobby Lashley too.
That's what I was
And
gonna
even
say.
all 3 of those characters are the same guy, but like back then it was like Kurt Angle could beat the Undertaker, and Kurt Angle's character wasn't I'm a fucking machine. It was like I'm a fucking goofy.
I'm good at wrestling and I'm a cowboy.
Yeah, I'm a
Is that
goofy
right?
baby cowboy.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different structure in that there was kind of like, yeah, you every like the WWE basically had like 6 guys that kind of always faced each other, and it would be different groupings of them. And now it's kind of like there's 3 guys that will always face each other, and that's Lashley. That's not really true anymore, but like for a minute it was Lashley, Reigns, and Lesnar would just cons- go back. That was
Lesnar
last
and
year's
Reigns
booking.
have headlined as many WrestleManias as
Way
Austin and
more.
Rock
It's
have.
way more. Way more. They've
No,
had
it's
like
3 and 3.
I thought it was more than 3.
Well, it
No.
isn't, fuckhead.
Isn't it 4, you piece of
Look it
shit?
up.
Okay, let's see if
Look
I
it
can
up.
do it. 31.
Are you
New
looking it up?
Orleans, 34. No, I'm doing it off of my head, 34. And
Okay, so you're just gonna be wrong.
isn't there 4?
Wrong o'clock.
I like how, by the way, I'm not sure, and I was trying to just use my memory as evidence. That's very bad.
Do you think they were maybe trying to like have the Undertaker be pivoted off of, but then it's like the Big Show was too fat, so they were
I
like,
think
I
that's
guess the
exactly what
Undertaker is a
I think they were
biker.
trying to I think they were trying to pivot to Nathan Jones.
Oh yeah, because Nathan Jones. If you guys haven't seen Nathan Jones, ooh fuck.
Oh, he is.
Oh fuck! Imagine if the Liver King was 7 feet tall. Oh
Yeah.
fuck!
And he was as good as
Oh
talking as the Liver
yeah.
King.
No, Liver King's way better. Nathan Jones. If Nathan Jones earnestly just kept on being like, "Yes, I'm 7 feet tall and 350 pounds of pure muscle." No, I am not on steroids. That would be way more infuriating than whatever is. His basically Nathan Jones's character was I'm nails, but I have my shirt off.
Yeah, that's
Because remember,
correct.
it was like he got out of jail by bending the bars.
Yeah, it was very weird. I also am very impressed that the WWE did not make nearly as many drop the soap jokes as usually that type of performer would have warranted from that company. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How did he get out of jail? Well, a guy tried to fuck him in the butt and then he ripped his dick off.
Like I would have, because I'm Vince McMahon.
Oh, yeah. Fucking clenched my butt cheeks off, ripped his dick off. Anyway, that's his finishing move. Oh, no. He's making him fuck him in the butt. He's going to rip his dick off. That would be sick. He's bleeding out in the ring. Put him in the body bag. Old school Undertaker.
My yard.
This is my yard. Anyway.
You know, this is my yard.
Oh, yeah. I sucked your fucking dick with my butt. That's in my yard. WrestleMania 20. There's a big build up, and the Undertaker returns as the dead man. And if you guys
and Paul Bear is too fat to go up the ring steps. It's very
yeah, they
This-
roll him up.
This is a real interesting time for the Undertaker as he comes back, and then he.
Is forced to marry me at gunpoint.
That's right. He marries Dylan at gunpoint at WrestleMania 21 in Los Angeles. It's a part
Dylan
that
McCool.
they've cut out of the.
Well, you can't silence history.
I agree. Yeah, basically this is entering into the weirdest part of the Undertaker, which is Undertaker's WrestleMania 20 through 25, basically between this match and the HBK match. Oh boy. We have the Randy Orton almost gets hepatitis B from
the Randy Orton Undertaker feud and then win by the Undertaker is amazing. It reestablishes Randy Orton as a top heel, which after his weird shitty title run where his whole character was like, I'm young and look at my fucking hog is needed.
Young, and that is a shadow because my dick is thick.
But it's like they do a really good thing
It is
where he leaves Evolution.
Wrestler, by the way.
But what are you saying? Are you whispering things?
It's insane how long Randy Orton has been a wrestler for a guy who's definitely smoking and has definitely not
Looks great.
listened. Yeah, it shows. By the way, just being an asshole, you age stress free.
Yeah, Randy Orton said everything that's ever been on his mind.
Yeah, that guy's not.
He said the N-word on a street. He's like he said the N-word while he was playing games, and no one cared. Everyone was like, I guess that's what he says.
Here's the thing, what no one talks about. If you present yourself as that person, if no one is shocked, they're just gonna like, what did we expect from a guy whose father had a cast on his arm for 3 years? His dad was, quote unquote, Rowdy Piper's crazy friend.
We never really explored, like, given how attractive Randy Orton is and how ugly Bob Orton is, how hot is his mom?
His mom isn't actually that attractive. It's just Randy Orton wanted to beat his dad at something, and so they had a fuck off when Randy was 13.
Oh God.
And
Okay.
Randy went to Puerto Rico and got plastic surgery to look like a fucking fox.
So anyway, we get his match against, which he brings back his dad with the cast still on, and they both
almost gives the Undertaker
revitalized for the careers.
Hepatitis. He almost
How does he do that?
Bob Orton has hepatitis and bleeds a bunch, and the Undertaker's like, that guy doesn't have a hepatitis, right? And they were like, wait, no, he does. And then he's like, yeah, get this fucking guy out of here. I'm not getting hepatitis from Randy Orton's dad. I'm already going to get HPV from Randy.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has HPV, right? That's what people with HPV say.
That's right. Everyone who's cool does.
But like, they revitalize each other's career completely.
It's pretty spectacular. And then WrestleMania 20. Boo. This is where I have no idea who he fights. Like, I think this is when he fights the concept of socialism at WrestleMania 23.
23. One of them, he beats both Dudleys. Like, they definitely it doesn't become like,
that's a Great American Bash, I'll have you know.
Wasn't it no, there was a wrestle. Oh no, sorry, that was Nathan Jones and Albert. He beat.
Yeah, he beat Nathan Jones and Albert, you fuck.
But this is all the people forget this, but like, in my memory, it was always like Randy Orton, then Shawn Michaels, then the Triple H matches, because you only remember the really good ones. But like, they definitely punted on more than, like, there's a Mark Henry loss in there.
Oh yeah, that because it's the Mark. That's the Hall of Pain. That's yum 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 yum. Yeah. Mark Henry is WrestleMania 22. The initial plan was Henry was supposed to win. Kurt Angle wanted to have a match with the Undertaker and have Angle break the streak. McMahon said no. WrestleMania 23 was Batista. That's right, the SmackDown Batista. Lovely stuff. And this is the first time that they started calling it old school, which Dylan and I both hate with a fiery passion.
Oh yeah, that fucking move. Let's call it kick a little bit of old school.
But
this is also another one where it's like the Undertaker is
right,
on spot duty. Yeah,
you have Edge, which is I think the unsung great fucking match.
Yeah, that one's fucking awesome.
And apparently Edge refused the opportunity to break the streak.
Really?
Yes, because apparently that it was going to be a streak versus streak match.
Oh yeah, because Edge was also undefeated at WrestleMania,
and then
that was the storyline coming into that one.
That was going to be the storyline coming into that one, and then the next.
No, that was the
storyline. This is a blank spot for me in terms of wrestling, and then of course he by defeating Vladimir Kozlov, Shawn Michaels earned the right to challenge The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25 in a good versus evil story. Undertaker playing Lucifer, Michaels playing Jesus, and Jesus lost to the devil.
Well, it's also like, yeah, here's the good guy. He's fucking slipped a bunch of roofies to chicks to make them pass out. He's Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what did you do? I went home and ignored my wife. Yep, you're the devil.
Or like provingly lied to Bret Hart for years and forced him out. Like he's Jesus. Anyway, but this is also the Undertaker winning his first world title in 2007. This is also his second prime. People forget this, but like,
oh yeah, this is when like he shows up, he makes WrestleMania. It is super fucking exciting. This is we covered this in the HBK episode as well, but we have the HBK matches into the Triple H matches. I can't believe they did Triple H back to back. That is wild.
and just didn't reference the other WrestleMania match they had. They were like,
Yeah.
first time facing him at WrestleMania, which
If
is
you
like
don't-
what we're talking about with the Dutch Mantel thing. It's like so selective about what they have as canon.
Yeah, that's such a great point. Yeah, it's also like that weird time in wrestling where they're like, these fans don't remember anything, and it's like these fans remember everything.
Yeah, and also wrestling, you do kind of have to just switch things suddenly because like we just look at the TV and be like, we're not gonna complain about this, right? Because why would we explain our way out of this?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where it's
Yeah.
like AEW did a thing where William Regal did like a weird speech that was only to be played in the event that MJF turned on him, and it was like no one needed this. This made it so much worse, but it's clearly an attempt to like make it, make it make sense. But it's like it already made sense. You're overthinking it.
I wanted
Anyway,
to say this is AEW really has shown the lesson of you can be a good booker for 3 years, and that fourth year you will be tired, you will make mistakes.
buddy, every week you got to fucking do 3 hours of TV every week. It's
People are like, this
fucking real.
Tony Khan's lost his touch. Yeah, no shit. Like, The Sopranos is bad after the fourth fucking season, guys. Like, I'm sorry, sort of to besmirch Tony.
Yeah.
But the fucking season 5 stinks.
Wow.
Yeah, season 5 and 6 of The Sopranos are balls.
Catch him Monday mornings at 8 till 8:30.
Yeah, hot takes with cool John Hastings.
Hot Hastings with his cool dick.
I keep it in the freezer.
Let's just talk about the entire streak because no one gives a shit about the other 2 times a year this guy wrestled, or the weird like they always try and summon the Undertaker.
I would like to talk about the Dudley Boys angle where for no reason he kills Paul Bearer and that's never addressed.
Oh, he kills him.
He just buries him in concrete. Why?
Yep.
We don't know. No one knows.
But much like we talked about Shawn Michaels last week having his resurgence with I don't have to do steroids anymore, the Undertaker does too, when it's just like, yeah, I'm super lean, and he also has old guy chest where your boobs sag into your armpits, but he becomes, some would say, a better wrestler than he ever has been.
Because he also becomes a vegan. He becomes a super vegan and starts
doing... Michelle McUndertaker.
Yeah, Michelle McUndertaker makes him a vegan. And it's also, he does get into the UFC, so he gets into jujitsu and he's doing a different type of exercise that's using his whole body, which I can never remember the name of. But as someone who is now learning about back injuries, that's the best thing you can do for your whole body, because as you're getting older, it's keeping everything at the same level. So one thing isn't stronger than the other and tearing it, which means that his body is so much more fucking
he's
loose.
Also given, and this is something that not every wrestler gets, and it's
year off. He wrestles.
Well, also he's allowed to beat world champions with new moves. He beats Edge with the Hell's Gate. Like he starts tapping people. So then you're like, okay, well, his mega, it's like a New Japan system where it's like his mega ultimate finisher is the tombstone, but also he can submit people. And I think Edge kicks out of a tombstone. And it's like, this is when you start spamming people kicking out of the tombstone. They have to go to such like before they break the streak with Lesnar, the previous match was like Michaels is the referee. Triple H pedigrees him like 8 times. Michaels there's a sequence where
they set it up so much for the streak to man. They also bring Jim Ross out during one of the many times when Jim Ross was fired for the company because he didn't was that the time? No, that wasn't the time that he did the Ric Flair's drunk at this video game conference. We better blame Jim Ross.
Yeah. But also they have Jim Ross come out just to commentate those matches, but they do a sweet chin music into a pedigree, and it's like the Undertaker. The whole thing is like the Undertaker's never gonna lose. And I remember when the streak was broken, that third F5, and my only thought was like, oh wow, they're really killing Brock, and then he won, and it was like crazy.
I still never saw. I didn't even see it live. This is how
It was
bored
insane because
that
it was
match
literally
was.
people going like, okay, what happened? Like, how did he cheat? How is this going to be undone? You got us. All right, we think it's over, but
Dylan,
then it
get
wasn't.
this. I was told the Undertaker's streak was over by a man who's now dead.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I walked into the
Was
kitchen.
it? Was it Justin Trudeau?
It
Because his
was
fucking
Justin Trudeau.
simulation.
It was Justin Trudeau. No, it was my friend Paul Byrne at Brendan Burns' house. Brendan Burns and I were in the kitchen getting snacks because we were like, this match is shit. And Paul Byrne walked in and went, I
Because he
think
got fucking yeah. Because the Undertaker, perfect time to end the streak. I don't think
perfect time.
anyone gets enough
I
credit where
completely
it's
agree.
like
I
the
completely
next
agree.
year, every year after that fucking sucked.
Yeah. You didn't
Like
need to
the
do it anymore. Like it's also that thing of the one problem is they should have if they're gonna end the streak, it's Undertaker's over. The thing is Undertaker thought he was done, but Vince McMahon was like, no, Mark, you're not. I need to make sure that this Bray Wyatt never gets past the mid card.
well, he murders John Cena at one of them. Cena does
Oh,
the ultimate where it's like he beats him in like 8 seconds,
that's
which is dope.
the New Orleans WrestleMania. That WrestleMania, the second one they did in New Orleans, that's WrestleMania 34. I watched that live. That one is so nuts to look back on. That is Braun Strowman tags with a kid to win the tag team titles. That
That one's
is
great.
John Cena just shows up and is like, I'm going to fight the Undertaker, and he's not there. And then they hit the gong and he runs from the crowd to the back to put his gear on. And then you have Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, such a bad match that Brock Lesnar walked into the back and threw the belt at Vince McMahon and left. And there's footage of it on YouTube. And Vince McMahon goes, "You're an asshole."
Where he's like, yeah, here, well, I just made $10 million.
Yeah, like it's I love how Brock Lesnar was the first person to figure out like, oh, he needs me more than I need him. And like what's so funny is so many wrestlers were like, how did he figure this out? And it's like, it's true. He does need like you just get to a certain point, they need you more than you need him.
100%. Well, it's also like when Lesnar beats the streak, it's like, who are we gonna have beat the streak? Not that Lesnar wasn't a great choice, but it's like, how about the guy who's here 6 weeks a year?
Yeah, but here's the thing that was the point that Paul Heyman made in a shoot interview that no one talks about is we had to do something with Brock because they brought him back in and he lost his first two
Yeah,
matches and no one cared. Like you have to understand that he's like, it's never been discussed, but I think that Heyman had more of a hand in ending that streak or did something because suddenly Vince was totally fine with it. And then you had Brock end the streak, and then you had Brock mug John Cena at SummerSlam.
well, yeah, because the first thing they did was they brought Brock in, and this is not gonna be about Brock Lesnar, so we're gonna get
We're
back
gonna
on the Undertaker.
yeah.
But they brought Brock in, he immediately lost to Cena.
Immediately. And then he immediately lost to Triple H a bunch of different
Yeah,
times.
he lost to Triple H once. Yeah, I think he went 2-1 against Triple H, which is like Triple H was like visibly old by this point.
Yeah, it
like,
doesn't
why
make any
are you
sense.
doing this?
And again, it relaunches and then it also kind of rebrands the Undertaker a little bit of will he come back? They have the match with Bray Wyatt. It is fine. And then we kind of start the slow march to could we stop this? Could we maybe stop
Oh
this?
my goodness. It's like, okay, you did yoga and became a vegan and really did get an extra like 6-7 years out of this. He's doing the dead man dive like straight up over the top. There's that which match is it where it's like Snuka, one of the Snuka children, like the Undertaker, which is funny because they blame the Snuka child for being too far back, but in reality, it's like the Undertaker's dive is like he goes barely gets over the rope, his feet clip the rope, and he just goes straight down at a 90-degree angle, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Undertaker's dead."
Oh, that's right. Yes, because he's the third part of the legacy.
And then he gets fired immediately.
Yeah, the Undertaker also is this interesting sort of thing of
No, he's not, but he's like playing a cameraman. He's not playing a guy in the legacy at that point. He's playing a cameraman, and his only role is to catch the Undertaker, and he literally like is a cameraman, sees the Undertaker coming down at a 90-degree angle, and has to like drop the camera and just try and catch him.
fucking nuts. Because you have Bray Wyatt, he takes Dallas off. He doesn't show up at the weird Shane McMahon Hell in the Cell match that friend of the show Alex Wood still thinks is a good match, and I think about that way more than I should. Then he's at New
But he's almost
Orleans.
50. He's sorry, cut you off, but he's like 48
Yeah,
when he
it's fucking nuts.
anyway, like this is what I'm saying. This guy once a year he gets to come back. Him and his wife are living a healthier lifestyle, but it's like I'd say that I mean Jericho's more naturally athletic than the Undertaker, so he can still kind of do it. But there's one day
Jericho's
Jericho's
not.
going to miss that lion salt, and he's going to die on television.
Yeah, the thing also is Chris Jericho is his style is not nearly as helpful as the Undertaker style for this kind of life. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and it's like super smart stuff that Jericho has made where it's like, what was my first finishing move? A Boston Crab. Okay, you can do that till you're dead. What's my new finishing move? I stick my elbow out and some guy who is a human trampoline murders himself on it. Okay, I can do now I have two ways to feasibly finish a match until I am actually dead.
Yeah, which will be soon because there's no way I'm not doing pink cocaine.
But what would you do? Would you let the man who's going to die very soon just ride off in the sunset after his loss? No, you immediately, and we watched this in Edinburgh, have him beat Brock Lesnar to get some of his heat back because you need heat back when you're 50.
God damn. Right. And what a bad match that was.
I don't know how you would make the stat like the stats around it, but there must be an impressive record that like former world champions have post 45 because anytime a old wrestler is like 50,
yeah.
they always win.
Yeah, it's depending on the era. Attitude era, you're not winning. Ruthless aggression era,
No.
get ready to be the champion.
If there's competition, you're not winning.
Yeah.
But if there's not, if it's a territory, you're jobbing to Fritz.
Got news for you. Thunderdome era, get ready to read a newspaper in the ring, my friend. You're the third hour of SmackDown.
Yeah. They want 6 hours of SmackDown? That's cool. Okay.
Like, no one
we just taught The
remembers this?
Undertaker dominoes. He's going to try and figure out how to play the game on TV.
There was an 8-week period where the main event of SmackDown was just DDP showing you how to do yoga, but he would not take he was just in jeans.
Once again, DDP, best TikTok presence there is. Every video's in a hot tub. It's just DDP fucking shitting and pissing in a hot tub. You can't see any of it, but I know it's there. Then The Undertaker does the greatest thing of all time, which is the match against Bray Wyatt that is just a movie. Which is the best way to get, and also no, fuck, it wasn't that. It was AJ Styles he faces at Mania in a match that's just a movie. And
that's his last match, the Boneyard match.
Boneyard match. And it's like literally the best wrestler you have in AJ Styles against The Undertaker, and they weren't confident enough The Undertaker could have a match in the ring against him, which is crazy. Like, I could have a good match against AJ Styles, and I'm not exaggerating. Versus a guy, and he's that broken down that they're like, we better put this one on tape.
Yeah, it was COVID. So we don't actually know what the Boneyard match was
That
going
is
to
true.
be. We don't
That
know
is
what
true.
it was going to be.
You're totally
before
right.
going into that WrestleMania. Like, we have to remember that WrestleMania was so early into COVID. Like, it was like 10 days after we locked down. Like,
we locked down there, and then the WWE said, "Yeah, I got a COVID test. Oh, here it is. Don't have it. That's the finger,
exactly,
buddy, right there."
Like, do you know how quickly Vince McMahon had WWE declared an essential service in Florida? It's still nuts to me.
Good for him. He really fucking. But that's the thing, man. They're gonna run into something where Triple H is gonna be in charge, and where Vince McMahon would literally just fucking like, yeah, just fucking do it, pull it over, and everyone's gonna be in Triple H's ear, being like, let's balance this from a blah 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 perspective, or as Vince McMahon would be like, yeah, okay, we just fucking ran over a bunch of refugees. I don't know, say the bloodline did it. They're heels. All right,
they were in my way. What the fuck?
Exactly. Vince McMahon will just be like, yeah, Jamal Khashoggi is I don't know what those words are, and I don't care. I want their money from the devil people.
I don't even think, Vince, it's not even a money thing. I guarantee the Jamal Khashoggi thing was you don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, man, just fucking crazy. Anyway, the Undertaker's retired now, and if you heard him on Rogan, he did one of the greatest things where he tried to intimate that Braun Strowman was not on steroids.
Also, by the way,
Keep the fucking business
I
in your blood.
I have never watched the end of that documentary because weirdly timed, anytime I sat down during the COVID lockdown to watch it, my ex and I would get into a very intense fight. Not connected in any way. It was just a timing issue. It wasn't like she would
Yeah.
walk in the room and be like, "This fucking Undertaker." Let me tell you, it would just be like,
No, it was cursed. It was
"It's
your
exactly
urn.
it's food poisoning."
Uh yeah. And then the Undertaker went through a thing where it's like, oh, he's gonna be on these podcasts shooting, and then everyone was like, oh, what does he have to say? And everyone's like, oh, I'm
Not
upset
much.
with what he has to say.
So
He
best
has
thing,
literally has to say what Jim Cornette has to say.
and he doesn't know how to say it in nearly as an exciting way as Jim Cornette. Like,
Where he's like, we used to have tough guys, and that we should have more. We should have had
but it's
more
also
tough guys.
weird coming from the Undertaker because basically it sounds like he's saying there used to be me and now there's not me, so it's bad.
But that's what every old person does. Things were better when I was young, and now it's bad and worse.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And then he was yelling like, "How many people have died?" None actually in 10 years. How many? Yeah, exactly. Look at all these wives walking around with good marriages. I hate that. Here's how you get in the. Here's how you got into business in the 80s. You were divorced twice, and then a guy showed up to the gym if you started doing steroids. That's how wrestling used to work.
Yeah, let me tell you how wrestling worked. You wanted to do murder, but you were a pussy.
Yeah, okay. And then, all right, you know who the world champion was in this territory, little territory in Montreal, was Stephen Hastings. The most divorces. That's how they fucking.
That's right. My dad's the world fucking champion, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. Bret Hart calls him and goes, "How do you do it?" And he hangs
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, he's like, first of all, you don't use a phone.
You either have a dad that gets you in the business, or you're so divorced that it's visible from space.
Exactly. You either have to have a divorce lawyer who rolls his eyes every time he calls, or you have to be able to do a flip. It's one or the other. And let me tell
No
you why
flippity flues.
let me tell you why the Undertaker was the best. He was both those things. That man has, I think, 4 ex-wives. At least one of them he had tattooed on.
Sarah.
We didn't even talk about the DDP stalker angle. Ladies and gentlemen, are you not entertained?
Oh yeah. Hey, my whole thing is that I'm like a working man, and I'm kind of like the underdog. Yeah. You want to fuck my wife so bad that you're a cuck. There's a very good there's a
I
24-hour film challenge that
Go
are,
ahead.
and I feel okay talking about this. Our mutual friend Eric Andrews did it with a couple friends he had that are now like yoga influencers, and Eric pitched some ideas for what the 24-hour film challenge would be, and then they were like, since it was 2 against 1 voted, they were like, yeah. No, it's gonna be that you want to fuck my wife, but you can't, and I fuck her. And then Eric was like, okay. And then they and then they assumed that Eric wanted to watch them have sex. So they were like, but you can't watch us have sex. Our roommate will film that for us. And it was like this 50-year-old guy who was like, yeah, I can film you fucking. And then Eric was like, okay. And then he just basically filmed 2 things, but still edited it. So it's like they want him in the room, but you can you can see the finished product. Anyway, very funny.
Eric Andrews is the most go along to get along guy I've ever met.
He would. Yeah, he would barely raise a hubbub if you were like, I'm gonna run over these kids. I think that I get a level up.
Let me say this: Eric Andrews is going to meet a strong-willed woman. He's going to be very happy, and he'll just enjoy running errands by himself.
He is. He's very happy. Anyway, why did I mention that? Because the Undertaker is hot. No, I think the best thing about the Undertaker is I think he has the best move set ever.
Just protected. He was the most protected.
He's the most but like we started off this episode, it is true. He's the most well-booked professional wrestler in the history of wrestling. He was the Undertaker. The Undertaker was what Vince wanted to do with Andre from beginning to end, and it is crazy that there's no with the fact that he did that with one guy, there's no reason he couldn't have done it with the second guy.
Completely correct, but basically what it was Undertaker is Hulk Hogan, the Andre the Giant. he is like,
Yeah.
do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's that thing of like, well, of course he's a good guy. Why? Because he is.
Well, it's also the heel factory. He's the last guy that heel factory worked with.
And
where
he's
it's
the last
like,
guy they kind of did the heel factory thing for in that way, because it's also that they were still doing the heel
well, they
factory
tried
thing.
it with Roman Reigns. They tried it with all these guys, but
I
they
mean, yeah,
couldn't
but
do it.
but wrestling's different now. It's a post Steve Austin world where the champion
No,
kind
but
of
they
just,
still did it with the Great Khali. Like they got the Great Khali over in like 8 seconds, and then had the Undertaker beat him.
that's
It's like
right.
shit like that.
Mark Henry, like they basically
Umaga.
find Umaga. Umaga's an interesting one in that what would it
Umaga was Cena. Like that was
Umaga was
amazing.
Cena, but still. But it just Umaga's one of those ones where I would have been really interested to see. He's one of those ones that I feel like would have weirdly like had a really great TNA run, and then like kind of like Lashley come back, and you're like, oh yeah,
He was in TNA, but then he died.
oh yeah, well, that's sort of what
He was in
happens in
TNA
TNA.
and he died.
Yeah, well, welcome to wrestling, I guess.
Rosie, Jamal, TNA, Japan, Umaga.
Dead.
Oh, bad stuff.
Um,
Bad
so
times are Ridgemont High.
I'm gonna say best thing about the Undertaker is luck. He's a lucky fucking guy. He
He's a lucky
arrives
man.
at the right time. I would say the one thing is he didn't know when to fucking walk away. He should have walked away after WrestleMania 30. And a real badass thing, if he had walked away after WrestleMania 30 and not come out until COVID of like, let me tell my story now.
Or even, dude, even if he would have like, this is the only thing I would have changed about booking the Undertaker, and obviously hindsight's 2020, is take 2 years off of a WrestleMania. Take 2 years off, come back, kill Cena. That's it.
Oh, so you're saying don't do Bray?
Don't do Bray. The Bray thing didn't do anything for anybody. None of those things did anything for anybody. All right, so here's my, I guess, what's your favorite Undertaker Mania match, and then we'll wrap it up. Because I think the worst thing about the Undertaker, I don't think there is anything bad about the Undertaker as far as being a professional wrestler goes. I think the number one thing he did that was
Here's my question.
Genius was stay off of all social media, and his character had that mystique.
I completely agree with you. I just want to check this. When was the Roman Reigns supposed to be the final match? And then wasn't, and then he came back. Because I think we fucked up we fucked up the timing. I think it went.
I mean, we just literally had a discussion about the Undertaker. This is not about timeline or anything.
No, I agree with you. I just want to confirm that because WrestleMania 30, he loses the streak. And then, oh my God, what am I talking about? Yeah, so Shane McMahon is WrestleMania 32. 33 is stupid Roman Reigns.
Shane McMahon. Wow. Oh yeah, and then he jumps off of the top of the moon.
I don't even remember.
I forgot about that.
I hated that cage match so much. I just remember that he jumps off the cage. I didn't remember who was underneath. It was the fucking Undertaker. But yeah, it was Undertaker. The matches he could have skipped.
That is infuriating, dude. This is the craziest thing.
I can't believe that he comes back.
April. So 20. He beats Shane McMahon in 30 minutes. John Cena he beats in 2 minutes and 40. This is what I'm saying. If you just had Brock Lesnar, he loses to Lesnar, and then you
comes
take
back for
off,
Cena,
and then
yeah.
Cena he beats Cena in 2
correct.
minutes. How much better is that than his post loss streak? His post loss WrestleMania thing is like the worst. It's everyone hated the Roman Reigns win. Bray Wyatt, there's no reason he needed to lose to the Undertaker.
Yeah.
He beats Shane McMahon in 30 minutes and
30 minutes
and beats John Cena in fucking under 3.
Yeah, but John Cena is not a worker.
Not like Shane.
Not like Shane. Shane's got work rate, baby.
All right, next week, who are we doing next week?
Next week we are doing I can't remember the list. They're good.
1 second.
Hope you're all enjoying these big-sized episodes, everybody. We want to make sure that
big, meaty, hard episodes.
Exactly. We're not ending soft cock. We're ending large load.
Next week is dealer's choice. Do you want Triple H or do you want Stan Hansen?
I gotta say it. Ladies and gentlemen, take off your glasses because you don't need to see where we're going. Because we're talking about the Lariat Man himself.
Oh yeah.
I
don't know anything about Japan.
I hope you all enjoy the plot of No Holds Barred being discussed at length.
Because
it still boggles my mind that Hulk Hogan's like, Stan Hansen's a great friend of mine. I'll get him a job in my movie. He is not working at this company with me.
Well, because he would have been like, Stan Hansen's a really good friend of mine, and I don't know how to broach the subject of please stop punching me in the face, Stan, because that would
Yeah.
make him punch me in the face more, and I don't want that.
All right.
Next
So
week,
here's how I get over is I just I beat the fuck out of your kids. There's no cameras.
at Dylan Gott on every social media platform, at the John Hastings on every social media platform. Please follow us. Thank you guys so much for listening. Oh, yes. And I don't know who listens to the very end of podcast episodes. We should probably put this in the middle next week, but we're going to put a poll up because the vivacious, the curvy, the immaculate Christopher Hobson is starting a podcast about feuds called The Professional Wrestler Review. It's about feuds in professional wrestling history, like a real breakdown of all the feuds, which some of them will be easy and some of them will be fucking hard. So we're going to maybe just make this feed that podcast now because we just paid for a whole year, even though we're stopping next month. So
Yeah.
I'll put a poll up. If you guys are okay with it, then we will do that.
Yeah, it's
Me and
basically
John
all
are
the
okay with it.
information of this show minus two guys who haven't read the research and are instead just talking about times they've seen jizz at a frat party.
Yeah, we'll just have to change all the fucking logos and shit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Guys, thank you so much. Thanks for supporting the show. Thank you for continuing to send us really nice emails and tweets about the show ending. It's really nice.
It is very nice. It really brightens up our day. Thanks so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Fuck you.